Okay, fair enough.
You can hear his balls jangling. It sounds like chains, but it's not. It's actually his testicles rattling together.
Nice. Oh dear. Actually, I'm gonna have to pull out my.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna steady.
Turn the camera off. Turn the camera off.
Yeah. Webcam. No. No, it's all right. Don't worry. I was gonna do a picture of my big chap. Pardon the phrasing.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Shonky Lab. I'm Elton, and this week I'm joined by my guest producers, Mr. Jim Moon.
Hello.
And Mr. Lee Medcalf.
Hello.
And we have got a wonderful subject, I think, because we don't get to talk about this type of thing in film reviews that we normally do across the board. And I think across the board, between us three, I think we've covered all the movies, haven't we?
Yes.
Probably, yes, yeah.
At some point, we've either spoken about them or spoken about all of them. I can't remember what ones I have done, what ones I haven't done, but I've definitely spoken about them on various podcast episodes throughout my history doing these sort of things. So, but I never really got down and dirty with the creature itself. So we are here to talk about the alien creature, the HR Giga.
Giga. He's Swiss. It's not Geiger.
Giga. The HR Giga creature. And all its, where it came from and how it has developed. And do we think it's right? Do we think it's wrong? What do we like? What don't we like? So, yeah, that's why we're gathered. There's no giving away anything. I did think about giving away donations of coins today, but I don't think I'll be doing that. I think I'll be saving that for something else more related to that. Yeah, so there's no giveaways or anything. So, sorry, guys. I know you wanted that 5 pence.
Maybe you can give away face hugs.
Maybe give away other famous movie aliens. Go on, who wants Alf? He's up for free.
Oh, yeah, you can take fucking Alf.
Oh, fucking Alf.
Yeah. Alf.
Every time you say Alf, because you every now and again you bring up Alf, and that picture, because
I always remember that story.
For anyone who doesn't know this, I was working in an elderly gentleman's house, and he had a stair lift, and it was a bit grotty, but you know he was a pleasant enough fellow. It just surprised me because I have to run the lift up and down. So I got on this stair lift and ran it up, very bored. Got to the top, turned around, and where the wall goes up to the ceiling from where the stairs are, there's a giant picture of Alf. Blue tacked to the wall. Cut out. You know, he's clearly got a poster and cut around the edge of Alf. Blue tacked him to the wall. And there he was to behold. And I naturally took a photo of it and put it on Twitter straight away.
Yes, as you should do.
Yeah, I felt obliged to.
Yeah.
Alf. And I'm always, whenever Jim, because it's always Jim that brings up Alf, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And that picture just pops back in my head. It's like I'm there, back on the top of them stairs, staring at that picture. It's very strange.
Yeah, nice.
So when you die, you go up the tunnel, you see the light at the end. So you know what's going to be the other end.
A fucking picture of Alf. Nice.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
God will be turning around to me and saying, okay, Elton, you can go up this staircase, you can go up that staircase, or you can go up this staircase. And I'll walk up that staircase. I will turn around to wave to God and all the rest of my family, and there will be a picture of Alf blue tacked to Heaven's Gate. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Nice. By the way, just changing the subject very slightly, if anybody wants to see my big chap, I put a photograph of it on the Shonky Lab, was it Facebook group? Posted me big chap up.
I'm worried to check it out, but I feel strangely obliged to as well.
Yeah. And everyone's starting to join. Hello, everyone in the old chat room. Hello.
Very good.
Just for newcomers to the show, we do record this live on Mixler. It's mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia, and you can join in the chat room. It's not normally me that keeps up with the chat room. It's normally everyone else. That's why I get the guest producers to come in and do that sort of thing, because they're much more, they're clearly better at it than me. So, you can always do that, or you're more than welcome to join us on the Skype via Elton McManus. So if you type that in, phone us up, you can always jump on. You probably will get cut off at some point, because I now know how to do that, as Mr. Medcalf knows from last episode.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Made me feel all special being the first to get cut off.
Okay, so the alien.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get a bit of background from both of you, if that's all right.
Sure.
I'm going to go with Jim first. What is your background with it? Where did you first see it, or how were you first introduced to the alien creature?
Well, now there lies a tale. I was in the last year of junior school, and I used to sit next to a guy, and we actually, you get in a new class, you get told where to sit. And this guy I ended up sitting next to, he was a huge horror fan. So we got on like a house on fire and used to try and outdo each other doing various horrendous drawings. But his parents were into horror films as well. And always used to go and see the latest ones and bring back reports of them. Now, we were kind of aware of the film Alien, having seen posters with this egg leaking, that iconic green fart gas from the bottom. And in space, no one can hear you scream. And of course, the big question is, everyone wants to know, what does the alien look like? But there was, this was pre-internet, pre-home video days even. And so there was, nobody knew. Anyhow, my friends, his parents went to see Alien, and then the next day, I got a detailed report, and they say, well, it's sort of hard to describe, sort of big teeth, no eyes, long head, it's slimy. And we said about drawing what we thought it looked like. And it wasn't until a bit later on that I believe I can't remember, was it officially Marvel, but it was kind of Marvel talent. It was Archie Goodwin. And I can't remember the artist. Archie Goodwin scripted it, but they did a Alien, the illustrated story, essentially what we'd now call a graphic novel adaptation of it, which my friend, his parents bought him it. And we looked at that and go, that's what they meant. No eyes, long head, big teeth. And so it was actually, my real first encounter with the Alien story was in comics form, because it wasn't until a good few years later. And again, because remember, this is pre-home video days. I mean, I saw it on the movie television premiere. I believe it was a Saturday or a Sunday night. And I said that was before you had video shops and you could rent it. And so that was, like kind of, I'd been waiting a good couple of years to see it. And by that point, I'd got my own copy of that comic. I had the photo novel, which was literally endless stills from the film with dialogue, comic book style. And best of all, the book of Alien, that had all about the making of and the designs, and a book I foolishly lent out and never got back. Later years. It's kind of, where did that swag go? I was with a fortune now, damn it. But by that point, I did virtually know every page of that book off by heart. So it's kind of, it was quite strange. I was so immersed in Alien before I'd even seen the movie. And yet the movie still managed to completely knock my socks off, even though I knew every frame of it, thanks to the photo novel. But obviously the photo novel doesn't really do justice to how that film plays out. And there's some bits were actually, to be honest, incomprehensible in the photo novel of what was actually going on.
Very grainy pictures, etc.
Yes. The death of Parker in particular, I had no idea what had happened. And then you see it in the movie and go, oh, it bit his head out. Oh, I see.
Yeah, because I've got that photo novel book. I might actually take a photograph of it a bit later on. But it's the death of Parker is actually 3 stills of his head in the alien's hands, and then there's the head being punctured by the teeth, and then there's another picture of the head in the hands, and what looks like a load of blancmange.
Yes,
it's just 3 stills. That's all it is, right across. But the funniest bit is clearly they weren't that shot so quick. They weren't expecting it to be seen in such high detail in 3 stills, and you can actually see there's a crease at the bottom where the hands are holding this head too much, and the prosthetic is actually crumpling at the bottom.
Yes,
it's like a dimple right between where his eyes should be, like someone's squishing a half deflated balloon.
Well, that type of shot is only on camera for what? Less than half a second, maybe
it's a split second.
A couple of frames.
Second. Yeah. It was nice to have that film and go back after watching the film. Go, but at the time, you go, what? Yeah. So I mean, I was there from the start as best I could be without actually seeing the movie in the cinema, which being 10, there was no way, even if I stood on my friend's shoulders and with a glue on mustache, would let us in.
And if anyone's done that, please let us know in the chat room, because I don't believe anyone got away with that. With a big long trench coat and a hat over your face, standing on your friend's shoulders. 1 for Alien, please.
That'd be awesome. Love that. What about you, Lee?
Me?
Yeah,
I think I've told this story more times than I care to mention. But for those who haven't heard it, basically, my parents, well, we all moved into all these new houses, and basically it was like everyone was a new family, and so everyone was kind of like, the houses were kind of had this open door policy, and people would just go next door and chat and leave doors open, and leave the kids in the house next door, and we'd all go next door and have a chat, and just walking backwards and forwards, a bit sort of 70s soap opera kind of thing. Suddenly someone would just walk in the back door and go, "Hey, how you doing?" and this sort of thing. And one day in the summer, basically we got a Betamax, and my dad would go and get all these films and get them off the video shop, which is a newsagent down the end of the road. And he would take all the films, and you could see all the films that we wouldn't mind us finding were sitting on top of the telly, whereas all the ones he didn't want us to watch were in the cupboard above the telly, which was kind of like quite high up. And basically there was me as an 8-year-old, and I saw, and you could see sometimes the cupboard wouldn't close properly, and you could see, the name of things like Clockwork Orange and all these other things. And there was one called Alien, and I was still, watching Star Trek and watching all these other things. And I sort of was like, oh, that sounds like monsters, and oh, yeah, we'll have some of that. And so when Mum and Dad went next door to a couple of neighbours, Ian and Jan, they were just sort of having a bit of a chat, and they were sitting in the garden out the back and all this kind of thing. In the meantime, I'm still in the house, and I've climbed up, and with the judicious use of, I think it was a broom handle, basically broom handle, and standing on the side of the sofa, because the sofa kind of went up as far, because my dad had a long sofa that he would sort of essentially lie on, and he'd be sort of like parallel to the TV. So using that, I could use that and sort of just about reach, and I knocked all the things off, and I got Alien, and I watched it. And by the time it got to, I think it was just after Dallas died. That's when Mum and Dad came in. By which time I wasn't traumatized, but I certainly wasn't entirely sure I should have been watching it. But I was like, whoa, sort of thing. But also I was also like, because I'd never seen anything like it, and so it kind of warped me a bit. And after that, we just started watching any old horror films because Dad was like, "Well, if he's watched that and he's all right, he's all right." And next thing,
you do kind of hit a threshold, and then you realise, well, okay, he's at that age. If he can handle that, he can handle pretty much anything else that comes along.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so basically, I watched it at the age of 8, and then I started making plasticine models of it. Because we still couldn't work out, and then at that point, basically, Mum and Dad had turned it off. They just sort of like, get off, you shouldn't be watching that, getting really cross, but then later coming round to the whole idea. And so, so I only had like the view of the monster as far as I could tell from the brief glimpse that you see with Brett dying, and when Dallas turns his flamethrower to just show you it briefly with its hands out, doing its jazz hands. So as far as what it really looked like, I hadn't got a clue, and it wouldn't be for at least another couple of years before I got to see it all the way through.
Awesome.
So that's about it, really. I mean, but it sort of impacted. Let's put it that way. It's definitely one of those ones where a good couple of months afterwards, I was like, I can't go to bed in the dark.
Oh, you just reminded me of something as well. Hang on, I've got to write this down. Okay. Well, my interpretation, or my way it was brought out to me, there was something that happened before, but I'll drop back onto that in a sec. But I first watched Aliens, and my brother was in bed, my dad was out working, and it was just me and my mum. And I think my mum had seen it before. And I'm pretty sure this was the television showing. I can't remember what channel it was on, but I don't remember any adverts being on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember skipping the adverts or pausing the adverts so you don't record the adverts or anything like that. But I recorded it and watched it with my mum. And she was checking on me every single scene, I suppose, that the aliens popped up, and I was just engrossed. It was exactly what I needed. I was just a young teenager who was just at the forefront of, okay, I want something. I've had a little bit too much Star Wars already. I've done the G.I. Joe thing, but I like the army thing, and I like aliens. And this came along, and it was just exactly what I needed. The thing before that happened about that, though, I was watching an episode of Spitting Image, and there was an episode where Margaret Thatcher turned into a massive alien, and she got this massive long head, and that scared the bejesus out of me. Yeah. And I remember asking my dad about that, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the alien from Aliens," and that's where I think my curiosity was budded there, and that's why I wanted to see it. But my first proper visit to the aliens was through Aliens itself.
Yeah.
Seeing Aliens, I then went back to Alien, and at that time, I think Alien 3 was on the cusp of coming out as well.
Oh,
so
right.
That's where I stand anyway. I don't know if anyone remembers that scene in Spitting Image. It was at the end of one episode, and someone was having to go at someone.
Yeah.
It's the one that spits. I can't remember what the one that spits.
Roy Hesseltine, wasn't it?
It may have been, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was having to go at Maggie, or Maggie was having to go at him, and then she just lost her temper.
I think I found it.
Oh, have you got it?
Yeah, it's on.
Hold on, there's the YouTube video. Hold on,
this is right.
Hold on, I'm just gonna have to silence this, otherwise it will just play over the top. But
I'll watch it. I'll have to watch it. Otherwise, my whole machine will crash.
Your whole system will just go terribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frightening sketch from Series 3, Episode 17. In the scientist makes a horrific discovery about Margaret Thatcher. Hold on.
It's almost as though she were an alien.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. Oh my god. That's quite... Yeah. That's different. That was a thing. Yeah. Wow.
I'll have to check that out later.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds terrifying, though.
Yeah, it isn't. It is actually quite grim. I mean, even considering the fact it's puppets, it's like, what the fuck was that?
Well, Spitting Image scared me anyway. I never wanted to get famous just in case I ended up on Spitting Image, and so I was terrified of that.
Right. Okay.
But luckily, I didn't. So throughout the movies, what would you say was the best representation of the alien in its, I suppose, in its human form, fully grown form?
Oh, go on, Jim.
It is the first one. That is a cliche, but I think that is the best. Because they had this fabulous creature design, which they just really teased you with different aspects of it. And arguably sort of later films had technically better costumes, puppets, whatever. But it's just, you can have the best effects in the world, but if you've got a monkey behind the camera, forget it. And it's the portrayal as much as the execution in the first Alien that just makes it just so effective. The way this creature almost seems to have evolved to be able to just, hide among the pipes and the fittings of the Nostromo. And you're never sure something in the background. Is it a pipe? Is it a power converter? Oh, shit, no, it's a monster.
Yeah. Interestingly, on the chat, there's been a bit of chatting. Andy Plasty says that he thinks that Alien Isolation was the best rendition of the monster. Okay,
interesting.
For me, I kind of see where he comes from because that's looking really cool. Thomas McCamberley says it's Alien, and he's with Jim on that. Alien Isolation looks like the Alien from the first one, from the waist up, but from the waist down, it's more like the dog alien from number 3 with the dog legs.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more nimble. So it's kind of halfway between two different styles. For me, I have to say the first one, the original, because it's and Frog Stomper agrees, it's the first movie's version of it is the only version which is actually terrifying.
I suppose once you've seen Aliens and Alien 3, etc., you may have seen a bit too much of it.
Oh, it's not just that, but it's also, as what Jim alludes to. Jack agrees with us as well. What Jim alludes to there, the fact that it's mechanical, it doesn't look like anything. It's kind of steely grey with touches of bronze. It's got pipes instead of veins. Whenever you see it open its mouth, it doesn't open its mouth like a kind of like when you see any of the other films. It goes and just opens its mouth like whoop, open up. You kind of see this kind of weird juddery shudder kind of thing. And it's like a machine. It's like a press kind of coming open. It's going, and they do that, and they always have this kind of omnipresent steam kind of flashing about all over the place. And it's like, it is literally like a machine whirring into life. Yeah. And it doesn't look like anything you've ever seen before. Whereas in like the second one, when you see the drool, it looks like someone's like sprayed a load of, I don't know, crazy foam all over the place. And in the third one, it's got Michelle Pfeiffer lips and it's smooth as a baby's arse. And and in the fourth one, it's pissing so much KY jelly, it might as well just be a bucket of water. It's just everyone gets things wrong from there on in.
Yeah, as Giga said of Alien 4, they took my beautiful creature and made it look like a turd.
Oh, they definitely did, though. Yeah, they really did.
I mean, to go back to Alien Isolation, it's really frightening because when you're actually in the game, obviously you're more engaged and this thing come barreling at you. It's like, oh, fuck off. No, thank you very much. And it's more fearful because you're more involved in it. and you are, especially if you've got VR headset and a bloody thing's kind of running at you, you can hear it in your ears. That's kind of, that just is drop your load. I need new panties, Sir William. Thank you very much. But, the sound is awesome. But the thing is with that is it doesn't move in the same way as the first one does. The first one's far more taking its time. It's more elegant. It kind of just, it knows it's got you. It's like a spider crawling towards you. It's not really going to run at you. It just knows it's got you.
Yeah. The thing in the first one is the way it moves. I mean, it's a cliche, but it moves in a way that is very alien. Whereas I think all the other movie versions, they move in ways where you can go, that's being like a dog. That's being like a monkey. That's being like a subtle teenager. That's a fat man in a suit.
Yeah, that's Tom Woodruff after hitting craft services. Yeah.
It did move alien-esque. It was very abnormal as it moved, but there were some shots where I've seen the shots where they took them out, or it was test shots of the alien walking through the corridors with its head bowed down, and it didn't seem quite right the way it was. It was too much of the body figure, the silhouette of the actual man in the suit, which I thought pulled out, and quite rightly so, they didn't actually use for the movie.
Well, that's one of the big things in the making of. They really didn't want that moment of people going, it's a guy in a suit. Look, you can see the zipper going up his back.
Yeah, exactly.
And they worked very hard to eliminate anything that gave you that, I can see what it is. It's familiar. Oh, it's all right. Have some more popcorn.
Yeah.
And then they worked very hard and thought out sequences to really wrong foot you. I mean, one of my favorite moments in the first Alien is in the shuttle, where it just kind of yoga-like unfolds itself. Like a magic eye picture that's going to eat you.
Yeah.
But there's a weird kind of, I say almost this sort of yoga way of doing it, of kind of, I have become one with machine, now I'm coming to get you. It is literally coming out of the walls like the bogeyman.
Yeah.
And that the way it moves is just so kind of, it's so different to other sort of movie monsters, and that's what gives it its real kind of, holy shit, it's in there with a moment,
Yeah. Well, I suppose for me, Alien is the best representation of it because of its the look of its skin, the glittery effect that it has on there, almost metallic to it, until you see the guy in the suit. It's kind of blown wide open there. But on almost par with that for me is the one out of Alien 3, because that is the most violent one, I feel. It seems more violent than the ones in Aliens. And there was a scene where I think it killed a couple of people in the shaft where all the candles were flickering, and it looks up. And it just looks at one of the guys and just hisses at him. And it just looks so menacing. It looks like it's so powerful that it could just leap at him and just kill him by brutally landing on him. And I feel that one is more set in my mind than the one in Aliens.
The only thing with that one, the Alien 3 one in particular, especially in that scene, is like Aliens and like Alien 4 and all the others, they do something to try and explain it. I think that's always the problem with any movie monster. As soon as you explain it, it loses its power. And in like Aliens, obviously we had the Queen and made it Hive, and in like Alien 3, it's a dog, and so therefore it's more dog-like, and so it just wants to attack you and kill you and in the original Alien, especially the director's cut, you ain't got any idea what it's really fucking doing. I mean, it gets Brett, that's fine. But what did it do to Dallas? Because there's no blood, no nothing, no Dallas. Yaphet Kotto, Parker says it himself. And it's like, that thing is doing something, And then you get in the director's cut, you find out that actually, yeah, it's doing something quite grim.
Yeah.
But we don't understand. And I think the problem, that's the thing with the first film is it's doing all this weird shit, and it's basically it's literally changing itself from one step to the next and always wrong-footing you. And you think, oh, it's just killing you. Well, actually, it's not. And it's just like, that's the thing for me. That's the thing without in the first film, that's the thing that none of the others do. In all the others, including Alien Isolation and all the other video games, what it does, it just comes barreling at you, it kills you. That's it. Done. Done. Whereas in, like, Alien, and in lesser point, Aliens, it drags you off. It goes off to do something equally...
Yeah. The dragging off thing is the bit that gets me, and I would love them to bring that back in the future films that they're bringing out. I kind of want to see that. With all the dragging off and the Dallas stuff and the Brett stuff, and when we first encounter this on the derelict, it's not actually on the derelict, is it?
What, the alien?
Well, they go through something underneath and they find this massive cavern, don't they?
Yes.
Is it that... I get a little confused with it. The cavern, that's not on the derelict, that's underneath it, isn't it?
Jim? I mean,
because they winch down, don't they?
Yes, they winch down because there's a massive acid hole in the floor.
I always thought they were in like the lower decks, the very bowels of the ship, when they're sort of winching down into it,
where all the rum would be kept.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
ship's biscuits.
Why are you burning the rum?
Well, with that, because I didn't realise, I spoke to Lee about this a little while ago, and it just, you said something, I can't remember what her name, what was Cartwright's? Lambert. She says, what happened to all the crew?
Yeah, I wonder what happened to the rest of the crew.
Yeah. And now as an adult watching that, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what that signifies. Yeah. And that's been burning up inside me for, well, God knows, 20 years, I suppose. And
yeah,
I love that that's now come out. And I'm like, oh my God, that could be the crew down there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, Steve Bob's on the chat. He said, that Ridley Scott mentions there was a pyramid in the director's commentary. Well, there was a temple, and then it got repurposed into Prometheus, so we can get to that a bit later on. But yeah, the idea was that, and as you saw with the director's cut, it drags the alien off. The alien drags someone off, turns them into an egg, and then leaves them down there.
Yeah. And yeah, I love that idea of it though. That one of the drones has methodically laid them out in lines as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with there's a lot of theories about it, but the
thing is with that egg cargo bay is it has that weird laser light going over the top.
Yeah.
Which I always wonder, well, I like the crew. That's the crew idea. That's great. But, I mean, when I first saw it, before knowing about the deleted scenes, I got the impression that was the cargo. And it's got this, this warning laser of, do not pass the laser. Do not pass the laser. You'll get a big, horrible pair of hands on your bonds. Don't break the laser. Keep, And it's kind of like, there's that weird sort of ground mist. And you get the impression it's kind of like an enclosed, cargo, warning, dangerous hazard. It's keeping them cool. There's a laser light saying, keep off. And then John Hurt goes, I like to have a gander at that. What's this? Ooh, pretty. Ah!
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, there's one There's one thing I was reading because, I didn't know where we would go with this cast today. And I thought, well, I'll have a look in my Alien library because I do actually have something of a library of these things. I have like the Alien Vault by Ian Berryman? And I've got another one I'm looking at now. Anyway, I've got about half a dozen books. And one thing that comes up in regard to the whole thing of the cargo and the eggs and the thing is that one of the theories that Dan O'Bannon and Ridley Scott had was that this creature is rogue. And basically it would be a lot more intelligent and a lot more thoughtful and a lot more constructive if it had others of its kind around. And basically it gets born and it spends 4 hours in a cargo bay. It's hungry, it's not fed, and it basically attacks people and then starts just doing whatever comes naturally without actually knowing what it's supposed to be doing. And there's and the kind of implication being that it would end up being like the space jockey.
Right, so it would eventually turn into the space jockey.
Yeah.
And that would be the one that's
like the final form sort of thing.
And then they go screw that up, don't they? Yeah,
and they screw it up because really it should be something that's kind of unleashed en masse into it's the same as if you want to use the ant analogy, the idea that if you take one ant from a random sort of hive and then put it into another ant colony, basically it will just go fucking mental and just start attacking everything until it's basically taken down. And that's kind of one of the things they had in mind, was that this creature is actually basically acting on instinct, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I've always thought it was acting on instinct with the egg morphing thing about taking. But I was under the impression when you do see Dallas and Brett up on the wall, Brett was turning into the egg.
Yeah.
And Dallas was going to be the new host of a new alien.
No, he's definitely...
That's what I took from that.
No, he's still turning into an egg as well. I think Andy or Jim put up a picture from BuzzFeed, which is all the artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, there's a concept art, and you can actually see, I think, about fourth or fifth down. A bit further down than that, actually. That there's a picture of Dallas and Brett actually in the walls being turned into like goo.
See, once I realised that, I prefer that idea because then you get two instead of one.
Yeah.
I just love that idea. I think that's...
Well, there's also the thing Geiger did, and it was this life cycle kind of hieroglyph they were toying with having in the sort of the alien pyramid.
That's
which
right.
I will now put in the chat.
Oh, yes, please.
And they're also playing with the ideas of kind of, this is a worship sort of creature and this is kind of a holy parasite sort of.
That's right.
And that's a sort of an interesting sort of angle on it as well. I mean, I just love that. I mean, that was in the Book of Alien when I first saw that, the life cycle picture.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
it hints to it that there's more to it than just a killing machine, which, of all the things we're discussing, this is what I find interesting, is that in the first only you have these hints that there's something more to it than other it just being something is coming to eat you.
Yes.
There's other aspects to it. I mean, I don't know if this story is apocryphal or not. Lee will probably know, but there was the idea they toyed with that at the very end, it would kill Ripley.
Yes.
But the last shot, you'd hear Ripley doing the log, then it would pan away and you see it's the alien doing it.
The alien
Which some people hate that idea, but I kind of, if it was done right, that could be one of the biggest twist endings ever, because that would be the real kind of, oh my God, this thing is intelligent.
Yeah.
This thing is really, really intelligent. It can mimic her voice. It knows what to say. And it's now got itself a nice package back to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, they were actually going to film it, and then they couldn't make it look convincing, And eventually they just kind of dropped it entirely because I think the studio just turned around and said, no, this thing's killed everyone. We have to get rid of it. You know, but Ridley wanted to go for a much more weird and dark ending with it actually literally picking up like, this is Ripley, last survivor of Nostromo signing off. And it's the creature saying it.
That could have been a breaking point though. That could have either made the film or absolutely ruined it and sent it into a spiral where we would have been mocking it now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's it's the 70s. It's kind of one of those kind of, hey, let's just try it, man. We're all out there. Interestingly, looking at the hieroglyph, it reminds me of another little thing. And this is, we're not really talking about the creature, what we are, but the thing. If you look at the egg, you see it's only got one slit. In basically, the egg actually got a cross slit in the film because it looked too much like a vagina, and they didn't. They put the kibosh on that.
Or pretty much.
You also see that the facehugger as well got two pairs of hands.
Yep, that's right.
I do like this kind of one almost Judge Death-like hand that pops out like an evil Jack in the Box.
Yeah. Oh, what the one with They based it on a pair of pliers. Oh, yeah. Andy's going, from Giga? Really? I'm shocked. Yeah. The alien, everything looks like a vagina.
Yeah, everything's like that, though, isn't it? But, okay, let's go back to the egg, the very starting point of this.
Okay.
We see the egg underneath all the mist, but it's dripping upwards.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there anything to explain what the hell's going on there? Or is that just a nice effect that they've added on there?
I haven't read anything to explain it other than just it looks cool. No, that's the only thing I've ever heard. I mean, unless Jim's heard something different, but I as far as I ever heard, it was just that they wanted to make it look like it was alive and bubbling.
Yeah.
And so they just basically, they filmed it upside down. It's basically what they did.
I think it's just one of those little touches. It just, it gives you a sense that there's something very wrong here.
Very much so.
The ordinary laws of nature are being subverted and messed about with. And it's a wonderful little detail. And it's the kind of little details, atmospheric sort of touches you get in the first Alien that are for me are very, very lacking in all the sequels.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and look at old editions of Starlog and Fantastic Film and Fangoria, whatever, and all stuff people writing about Alien before the sequels came along, you have a lot of talk about how this is a very Lovecraftian film, and it's the idea, kind of, instead of the elder gods coming to Earth, mankind's gone into the cosmos and encountered them. Yeah. And, there's that, Giga was a huge Lovecraft head, and there is that kind of, there is an occult and a cosmic sort of, a cosmic black magic that runs through a lot of his work and his paintings. I mean, he got the gig because, they were looking through one of his art books, which is called Necronomicon. And it was one of the images in there that said, let's get this guy to build the alien.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's all that kind of stuff that gives the creature this context. And the fact that it's never elaborated on, I think that's what really makes it stick in people's mind. This kind of the wrongness you get, that kind of, there's something really, really wrong. It's like the carrying people off. Again, it's kind of, I think, in his non-fiction book, Dance Macabre, Stephen King at one point does this fun little quiz where he gives you a one little sentence, a description of a film, and you have to guess what it is. And it's his kind of pick of, I don't know, it's something like 20 most scary films. Yeah. And the one for Alien is some astronauts go into space and they pick up a hitchhiker. Unfortunately, the hitchhiker turns out to be the bogeyman.
Yeah.
And that's really hits a nail on the head for the first Alien. And that's kind of, it's all the little touches like slime dripping the wrong way, the weird fog, the kind of just the fact that the ship they're in looks like a kind of alien haunted house.
Yep.
That's the power of the alien creature. It's in that context. And it's something that context loses later on when it just becomes, well, all that bone and giga shit, that's just stuff it just does. It's like its nest, sort of. You go, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that they did in, with the egg, for example, which they never did with any of the other versions. And, including things like, is it Nottingham lace? Is it?
Yes. That's just in the top as it opens up.
Yeah. Basically, what they did was they actually created literally like a fetus, like an embryo in the egg. So it's literally the stuff that sits over the top of the face hugger. When you see it all sort of jelly and kind of thing going around, and it kind of opens up with that kind of noise. It's actually the boiled inner lining of a sheep's intestine.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's just very veiny and such. But because it is a giga representation, you have that sexual connotation with it as well, don't you? And I always took away that is kind of like the Harmon of that egg, and it has to burst through that to get out.
Yeah. It has to break the seal. Yeah. Well, that's also why it kind of springs out, I guess. What I always appreciate with that egg as well, which you don't get in the other films, is that the egg is semi-translucent.
Yes.
So that when you and it's again, it goes back to nature. These egg, you don't see an egg with a shell. Yeah, and as Jack Goodwoodgate says, it was actually Ridley Scott with his hand in a pair of marigolds doing the alien inside the egg. And basically, so when it opens, so when Kane shines the light on it, and you see it kind of going and fluttering about inside, it's like, oh. No, that's just absolutely no. Whereas in all the others, again, the subtlety's lost, the emotion and the naturalism is lost. The thing just goes wee and just goes pop, and out it comes, or one finger comes out and it kind of crawls out and flops onto the floor. It's just like, oh, give over.
Okay, who did the alien egg worst? What film was the worst representation of that?
Oh, I would say Alien versus Predator did it the worst, because the egg.
I think there's some pretty shoddy ones in Alien Resurrection as well, where they
what in front
look really plasticky and
they just
it looks like a theme park ride version.
Martin Thompson said Cadbury's. But yeah, AVP was. For me, was the one, because it actually, what they did was they made it just look like a coconut, and then with like a petal on top. And then when it opens up, it looks like it's got a white plastic bag in it. And then they have the temerity to go, "Ooh, we're doing it so cool because look, we do it in slow motion." And they did like a bullet time.
That's the worst thing to do with that thing.
Off.
That thing is supposed to be super fast. You're not supposed to see it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what on the link I did on the chat room, that's all the concept art. You see a lot of the early version of the chest burster, the face hugger. And there's lots of different it's like a prawn-like design and several variants. But one you notice, they all have this big spring-loaded tail. That's something that made it into the final film. They had it just like, it uses that tail, just launches itself really, really horrendously quick. You know what I mean? It's that kind of like a dragonfly nymph popping out, just
yeah.
And you should never slow that down, because it's kind of it loses the essential dynamic and a good jump.
Yeah,
to be honest, cinematically as well, kind of fucking hell.
Yeah. One thing they did do in Resurrection that I didn't mind with the eggs was that. Almost that seal that they did under the water when they were swimming through the water, and they had to pop up and break that membrane. I like the idea of the membrane and them positioning the eggs around an access point.
Okay. To me, that looked like someone left a plastic bag over a swimming pool.
I'm not saying it looked good. I like the idea that the alien creature would. Okay, this is some sort of trap. It's almost a trap to ensnare people. I like the idea of the membrane and breaking the membrane, and that just triggers the eggs.
Yeah.
Like proximity to it. It's like a fly on a spider web.
Yeah.
At one corner, a fly lands onto the web, and the spider can feel it tingling.
I mean, the one thing help me out here, Jim. Because the one thing I always got with Alien Resurrection in that particular scene is that membrane has grown out from the bottom of the eggs. It's not something that's intended, and again, it's something that's come out of bloody aliens, which just does my nut in. It's like when you see the eggs in Alien, they're just eggs. You just see an egg. When something lays an egg on a leaf, it's just an egg. Mm-hmm. But in every other version, some clever fucker turns around and goes, "Ooh, wouldn't that be really cool if we had some tentacles coming out the bottom of the thing?" And then someone goes one step further and goes, "Ooh, tentacles out the bottom plus a membrane. Ooh, tentacles out the bottom plus a membrane plus an extra bit here, over there, and everywhere else." And
throw some shit up the walls.
Yeah, and then just have it all look like someone sneezed while having a mouthful of Hubba Bubba. It's just like, do me a favour.
I like the idea of it.
Yeah,
I don't think it could have been done maybe better, and it doesn't help that it is in Alien Resurrection as well, because as soon as you mention that name, it's fuck off.
Yeah,
really, just fuck off, honestly.
Yeah,
and there was a point where I was thinking, I don't know if I think I might like this movie, and then the last time I watched it, no, that's it. No, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Far too many times, and it is utter bobbins.
Well, the other thing with the that membrane on the bottom of the egg that comes out and it triggers when someone comes through underneath the water is, when has the alien ever had need of that method to infect someone? It's like the one thing that the first film does, and to a lesser degree the second film does, is it gives you like nature imperative. It sort of goes, oh, well, this is how things must work. You need if you've got a parasite, you need something to infect a host, and the host needs to be supplying food, and then it kills the host and gets on with things. The egg being on a thing which then has like tremory kind of webbing out the bottom to trigger. Well, he never needed that for anything else. Now, all of a sudden, because some French bloke decided it, that was it. He's like,
I feel, well, Jim said this before, it's when it is needed, it is used. And because it is an Alien Resurrection, the aliens move differently. It's a different type of movie. It's a hunting movie and an escape movie, rather than a science fiction horror movie where the alien is the main part of this. The problem with the Alien franchise is it's too much about Ripley, and that balls is everything else up. And really, it's actually called Alien, guys. So let's do the Alien, maybe, I don't know, and let's do it right.
Yeah.
But I think it serves the narrative in that movie. It works quite well in that movie, even though it is utter shite. But you put that membrane in Alien, it doesn't suit it.
No, and it's unnecessary.
It just doesn't work. There is no need for it. But I feel it was a nice touch in that poor movie.
Okay. Well, that's just lovely.
Well, speaking of that, let's just talk about the life cycle. Because, I think other films have tried to elaborate on the life cycle and done it, well, they chose poorly, shall we say. And The Rock does start in Aliens, where James Cameron makes the mistake of thinking that the alien nest looks like the derelict. And they kind of, that was an alien culture that's got alien eggs in it.
Yeah.
The aliens didn't make him look bony and biomechanical.
No.
Wrong.
Yep.
But I mean, I think kind of the actual concept of the life cycle is very interesting. I mean, I've got a few controversial things maybe to say here, but
Okay.
I mean, Alien often gets praised for the, shall we say, the biological realism of it. Whereas actually, as far as I know, I don't think there's actually anything that has the kind of alien setup. It has an egg. Okay, lots of things have eggs.
Yep.
Lots of things have things that hatch and become parasites. Yep.
Mm.
But the fact then that you get from the parasite, it then incubates in a host, then jumps out, and then becomes this big thing.
Mm.
It's a weird kind of two-stage thing. Normally in parasitism, you have the egg laid in the host. You don't have an egg, then a parasite that jumps out onto something.
Ah, whoa. There is actually a wasp, which does, I think it's called the tarantula wasp. I shall just Google it, which is a horrible thing. You're going to love this when you see it.
But doesn't that lay the egg onto the host?
Yeah, well, it does, yeah. Well, firstly, what it does is it paralyzes the tarantula, drags it off to its nest, and then lays the egg on the host, and then the egg basically opens up, the creature then burrows in, and then...
This has got to be in Australia, surely.
No,
If you say Brixton, that's not happening.
Yeah, the tarantula wasp, you're going to love this. Allow me to give you a picture of this. You're going to love this. Let me just get a nice little imager version of this, and I'll stick it in the chat room for everyone.
By the way, people in chat room, I'll be refreshing the page very, very soon. So if it all goes quiet, just refresh it, and then we'll be back with you.
There it is. It's in the chat room. Have fun with that.
Oh, yes. Mm.
Yeah. Now, this fucker is just the worst. It will sting. Yeah. Oh, Jack Woodgate just goes, fuck off. Yeah. Basically, it will sting a tarantula, a full-size one, and and Andy's got a video, a handy-looking video. No, I'm just going to stop that. Brazilian wandering spider versus tarantula Hulk wasp. Scary nature. There you go.
I think I may have seen that.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, and this thing it'll nip off legs and everything. It'll just drag them off, and there you go. And that's like 99.9% of the way towards Alien. I mean, really.
No, so my point was that what the Alien life cycle has is a 2-egg system.
Yeah, the egg lays an egg, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. And now the interesting thing I think that hasn't been explored is why.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see what you mean.
What's the biological need to do it that way round?
I would tell you why. With that, I feel the main egg itself, that can be set down and that can be left for whenever. That could be the next day, 100 years, 1,000 years. And as soon as it is triggered, it will work perfectly. Then you get to build your alien. So that if you had a biological or mechanical entity, it would either fail or die. And I feel the egg system with the face hugger inside it, you can just set that trap or set that to wherever you want, and then they will bring out a new colony from that. So that is just a timeless way of keeping your species alive.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Woodgate says it would make more sense if the facehugger laid a number of eggs in the host. And Doreen says, from the person who's only watched Aliens, theatrical, how can an egg lay an egg? Well, yeah, that's kind of the problem we're having. I mean, I think you're right, Elton. I think that the idea is that in nature, what tends to happen is an egg is there, it hatches, and then basically the parent or a food source takes care of it. I think that the facehugger is actually the method of getting a weak alien. Because when I was really young, I mean, maybe this will come on to a totally different subject, but when I was really young, I actually thought the baby alien was already inside the facehugger and it was just like a delivery system. Because people wouldn't put their face...
that could work.
They wouldn't, so it was like a little embryo already gone. So it was literally just a traveling method. It was only in Aliens when you started seeing them walking around, those facehuggers. But as far as anything else was concerned, it's just literally just a case of bang, hit you. Or you can go the Giga route and say, well, actually, it's a pair of balls and it's sperming in your throat and it needs the acid in your stomach to make its own defense system.
Ah, okay. So it feeds off your stomach lining and all the acids in your stomach.
Yeah. The only
here's another point which potentially might ruin everything for everybody. But it's kind of, there's a massive plot hole problem in Alien. And that is, it is biologically nonsense that something the size of the chest burster can become the big chap in a matter of hours. I mean, you find a sloughed off skin, which suggesting, it has an exoskeleton, it needs to grow, it has to shed its skin. But, biologically, it's got to go. To get something from chest burster, hello, my darling, hello, that size, to big chap, to 7 foot African student in a suit, that would take years and years of different, what biology call instars.
Yeah.
And this is something that, being quite into sort of frogs and spiders and chrysalises as a kid, it was going to, okay, I'll it's cool, I'll let it pass. But it's always bugged me. But when I think about it, actually, later films have really played it. Oh, it's a big animal, it's an insect, it's an ant, blah, blah, blah. But, I think there's a potential, not an explanation, but something you could play with there in that gap. And it ties into kind of Elton's idea that, it actually, if you went back to, say, John Hurt's body and you found actually it's been totally desiccated because while in him, it is literally absorbed all the life out of him.
Yeah.
So, after he's gone, he becomes a husk, just literally, he's just paper and dust. That would, explain why suddenly it can have this massive growth spurt. Yeah. Or if you wanted to go more to the Giga side, I mean, and really, can I borrow your tinfoil conspiracy theory hat, Elton?
Oh, you're more than welcome, yes.
But what if the chest burster actually summons from somewhere else the big chap?
Oh, what? So it's like an organic beacon?
Yes.
Wow, okay. we have taken left turn down the crazy alley. Yeah. Oh, actually,
this is what it feels like to be on the other side of the tinfoil hat, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Welcome to my world.
You look kind of like the kind of the ritual aspect. You sort of, and this strange sort of, necropolized culture that's in the derelict.
Well, actually,
and sort of Giga's sort of life cycle sort of thing. It's kind of, it's an interesting idea to play with. That kind of, because I think the problem with the Alien film series is that once it's just an animal and these are the rules, it becomes dull. But if you have something that is evil and intelligent and predatory,
yeah.
And in the first film, I mean, this is the kind of comedy argument you get in slasher films that actually Jason can teleport. That's how he can catch up to teenagers when he only, walks at a slow sort of shamble, nice. And they run like the clappers.
Yeah.
And, he could be kind of, he literally, the big chap does just worm in and out of dimensions. And this is why it literally comes out the goddamn walls.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot scarier, I think.
Wow.
It's kind of like an alien devil.
Well.
Jeez, I hadn't even thought about that.
Well, then that links in some ways. That does go into a bit of Alien 3 because, and also at the beginning of when you first see the alien, and it comes out of Kane in Alien, it comes out and what does Ash call it? He calls it Kane's son, And then later on,
Yes.
in Alien 3, you got them actually saying it's the devil, it's a dragon. It's and if you want to go down that weird metaphysical religion route, then yeah, I mean, if you look at Giga's only video game, which I think was called Darkseid, it was that kind of thing. It was that kind of weird thing of there's an alternate dimension that's just sitting beyond your own perceptions. It's there, you just can't see it. And yeah, if you suddenly fold all that in, the alien's kind of slipping in and out of this kind of weird realm. I mean, or as Andy Palastes puts it in the chat, I think the Chestburster just runs out, opens an airlock, and lets the big one in.
The only problem with that is that it ruins the story that the alien, the little Chestburster, was running around the ship and Jones was chasing it. And so when you see Jones in the cat box, and then the big alien face comes down in the background and starts smiling at him, it's almost to say, I get to play with you now.
Yeah, actually, it does beat the shit out of that box. And in the novelization, it actually picks the box up and shakes it about 100 times in the novelization. And Ripley actually is kind of like cursing under her breath, but also thinking, I shouldn't be as happy as I am, but the cat's distracting the monster.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? The one thing with its growth is that they do cover it in some respects. That in Alien, when Ian Holm Ash turns around and says, it doesn't need nutrients, or it's getting its nutrients from the atmosphere, and it's turning its outside skin into polarized silicon, sloughing it off and becoming, basically adapting to its environment all the time. It's constantly adapting and changing. So the idea that it went from Chestburster to Big Chap, which is what they actually called it on set, just in case anyone keeps thinking I'm referring to me dick, it's literally evolving to take care of what needs to be done, if you know what I mean. Which,
if it doesn't evolve, then it doesn't survive.
Yeah. And basically it's a silicon based creature, so it doesn't need the nutrients and the stuff that we need, because we're carbon based and we need water and we need oxygen. Whereas this thing needs, I don't know, could be anything. It could be iron for all we know, because it's completely different biology.
So that's something, because this ties into sort of the Geiger's kind of, that's what you call it, his kind of philosophy or theme in his art books, of biomechanics.
Yeah.
And that's something that the later films lost, that, the first one has. And I like the idea that actually it's not just, it is feeding on the environment, which is why it's got pipes and it can meld so seamlessly and camouflage itself with the Nostromo, because it's drawn off that.
Exactly. That's the thing. There was a brilliant book. I really wish I still had it, which went through things like, how, science fiction biology works with certain creatures, and it goes through them. And what it said with Alien was that, if it's silicon based, it doesn't need anything. It's completely different branch of evolution from us. So it's got no relation to anything we have. It's going to be silicon fused with every cell of its body. So it's going to be deficient in a completely different set of minerals and everything. So it will need something completely different. It probably wouldn't even be able to eat us, because it wouldn't be able to sort of take in all the stuff that we're based on. It would be like us eating a tractor.
Which is what bugs me about later movies, where it just turns into a feasting machine. Exactly.
And but the only thing they said that kind of counters that, kind of blows that all out of the water, is, well, if it doesn't, if it's constantly evolving and it can't feed on us, and it doesn't eat anything that, would even be anything in our entire mammalian sort of genus, couldn't eat cats, dogs, pigs, anything. It's like, well, then what does it need those teeth for? And it's immediately, because biologically you wouldn't need them. it would be I don't know, sucking on a drain pipe or something. It would be sort of trying to absorb from the decking, or
you'd have a set of monkey wrenches.
Exactly. Yeah. it would probably be chewing on one of those monkey wrenches more than likely. So it's interesting that if you do sort of go down that, and then as Jack says, how would it grow in a human host? Well, the only thing you can say there is that it's actually growing inside a big bucket of sulfuric acid, which is in your stomach, which is the only thing which kind of bears out. It's like, Ollie's going, baby. Yeah, and yeah, as Doreen says, if the alien is silicon-based, how could it breathe in oxygen on ships? Well, it doesn't. That's the thing, because in Alien, as you've seen in Aliens, but in Alien, it gets blasted out the airlock, and it's still perfectly happy to keep on ticking.
It's quite happy.
Yeah, it has no problem being in space. And in Aliens, the Queen goes straight out the window, and again, it's like, there's no air, but it's still like thrashing about like a mad thing. Yeah, so it doesn't.
Something that's something else we've never been touched on.
Mm-hmm.
It has no bloody eyes. Now I know. I think is it later. I think was it just the games where we do get an alien point of view, weird distorted fisheye lens shots.
That's the third film. That's the third film when it's chasing ex-RADA actors down a corridor.
Yes, that's right. Yes, but yeah, it's kind of. I find it very interesting. I mean, going back to like my first impressions of it. What do you mean it doesn't have eyes? You know, does it have a big white king? You know, how does it get about?
Well, I think that's a glorious thing about it, that because you can't see in, like the eyes of the window to the soul, and you can't see into that.
Yeah, I mean, Giga when Giga had the original design, which came from one of his artworks, which is called Necronom 4, I think it is.
Yes, yeah, that's the fella.
There are actually eyes, big black eyes on the side of this design, and they actually use that inside the novelization. Alan Dean Foster used it, that, you know, you'd keep seeing these big eyes, and you even see the thing's eyes in when Ash is in the medical bay and Ripley creeps up behind him and says, "Oh, well, that's interesting. What's that?" And you can see what is essentially really a chick's fetus being x-rayed, but it's got these big black eyes. And that's because when that scene was shot, the novelization was taken from the first draft. They still hadn't seen the monster at that point. They still hadn't had it finished and designed. And Giga actually removed the eyes from Necron 4 because he said there's nothing more terrifying than not knowing where this thing is looking. Or, you know, not even sure you can sneak up on it because you don't really know if it's looking at you or not. A bit like spiders. You know, spiders got these little dinky black eyes and there's hundreds of them, and you look at it and you think, are you looking at me? Or are you looking at the wall? Can you even see me? What's going on here? And the fact that it's completely implacable because it's got no features you can read. Yeah, it's like, it's a bit like, oh, okay, fair enough.
It's one of the things, it's subtly, again, breaking the rules of nature that we understand.
Yeah.
To just wrong foot you yet again.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Guy gets instincts for right, because I think, you know, if you give things eyes, they instantly become more human.
Yeah, exactly.
They become more relatable. If anyone wants to knock up Photoshop and stick googly eyes on an alien, feel free.
I would do, but as soon as I fire up Photoshop, my hard drive goes completely bananas, and so I would probably start sounding like Norman Collier falling down some stairs. Doreen said, "Does it use sonar, or maybe it's using sonar?" And that's interesting. I don't know. I don't think we, apart from Alien 3, which is a complete shambles, and I can dismiss entirely as far as seeing its point of view.
I'm pretty sure in maybe a year or so you will be able to dismiss it. Yeah,
I hope so. I really, really hope so. But Yeah, I mean, there's no real sense of how it finds anyone because again, I'm giving all this away. I suddenly realised Doreen's not seen Alien, and so I'm basically giving away pretty much everything. But in the case of like, how does it find Dallas in the tubes, in the tunnels? How does it actually find him? Because it's not using its eyes and it's not using sonar because it's inside a tunnel that's a completely different floor and level from him.
I don't think it finds Dallas. I think Dallas finds it.
No, because there's that whole thing when Lambert, Ollie's saying it smells fear. Yeah, everyone can smell fear, but no,
Ollie, it's not a chihuahua. All right,
but no. Actually, when Lambert's looking at the motion tracker, she goes, "Oh, it's coming right for you, Dallas. It's coming right for you." And she panics, and he's just sitting there going, "I just want to get the hell out of here." And you can see it going, "Whip it, whip it, whip it, whip it," and it's getting.
That's right. Yes, it's like the worst ever game of Pac-Man.
but in that scene, I feel that it's positioning itself. It's not doing let's say an Aliens or Alien 3 where it's chasing him. It's positioning itself, and so Dallas will inadvertently bump into it,
like a
coming to meet him.
Yeah,
and so it's if he doesn't find me or if he doesn't bump into me, that I'm quite happy just hibernating here until maybe he will come along next to me, because it does disappear off the scopes and then reappear. And I feel it's just, it adds another dimension to it. Is if it doesn't chase Dallas, Dallas accidentally finds it.
It does have a kind of trapdoor spider kind of thing. Of kind of just, it waits till he sort of turns around before it does the jazz hands at him.
Yeah.
But, Martin Thompson says it's a playful little scamp, really. And Ollie's saying maybe it just wants to play hide and seek. And Doreen doesn't want to watch Alien at all, so I feel free to spoil away. I mean, it does kind of, but again, it comes back to that thing. If it hasn't got eyes and it can't use sonar, how does it find him? How does it position itself in the right place? How does it know the interior of the Nostromo better than the crew does?
I don't know. How would it do it?
Yeah, exactly. And I have a theory, which is a bit. Well, can I actually, Jim? Can I
pass you the tinfoil hat?
Can you pass me the tinfoil hat? Can you?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, fine. little theory is that basically it's like pheromones, and what it does is it marks its territory, and what happens is it knows where you are based on how much shit you're covered in, and it can sort of home in on that. And the reason I say this is because it doesn't get Brett until he picks up the skin, and it doesn't get Dallas until he sticks his hand in the goop, thinking that there may be something interfering. Yes. And then, and then when it comes for Parker and Lambert, they are basically in the same cargo area that Brett got taken in, by which point there's goop everywhere, because that's when it came up and it went and sort of drooled all over the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you added the up in that sentence.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point. Is I think it's essentially it's leaving almost like scent markers. And basically, as soon as you do that, it is like a spider. You have kind of activated something that it can home in on.
I like that.
Because like I say, there's lots of pictures of tinfoil hats appearing on the chat. Thank you.
There.
But I mean, it's not anything ever given away or ever implicitly said. It's just something that just always, I always notice that kind of Brett kind of wanders around and he stays alive, actually. If you watch the director's cut, he stays alive because he walks underneath it and it's hanging in one corner of the screen upside down, but he's being washed by the cooling jets from the engines. So the cooling towers are basically dropping water onto him. He's being washed clean. It's only after he leaves that, picks up the skin, and then suddenly it has him.
I really like that.
I like it as well. Mm.
And I think that's quite a nice little thing that, you know, by basically essentially scent marking yourself, then it knows where you are. It can find you. It can home in on you.
So in, let's say, Alien 5, do we want to see a scene where someone goes, oh, no, don't touch that?
I don't know.
Because they work it out.
I don't know. I mean, in some ways, perhaps, but in some ways, it's a nice little headcanon, but also on the other side of it, you don't really want them to explain anything. Because this whole...
Well, that's one of those things that get exploited here. Oh, don't slip in the goop. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
You just sit flicking the V's at it.
Yeah.
Can't see us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, there's one over there and one over there.
Mm. Oh, by the way, yeah, Steve Bob kind of comes up with a similar sort of thing. He goes back to the thing about silicon-based life forms. I shall just read this. Oh, Tom's McCamberley says ants follow pheromone trails. Mm-hmm. But Steve Bob's little comment, I'm going to say before it disappears, is perhaps its own natural environment, there would be similar silicon-based life forms and it would predate on them. Therefore, it needs teeth. Munching on stuff in the ship's environment might be just a temporary fix. Ultimately, the scary thing is that we don't know the answer to any of these questions, and in as well crafted a film like the original, we are placed in the mindset the crew members who have these questions with an impending threat of instant death hovering above them. The crew don't have the luxury of 40 plus years to think about it like we do. Yeah, which is fair enough. Hold on. Yeah, there's more stuff. Oh, there's bloody people posting stuff. YouTubes. Damn YouTubes. Oh, yeah, then there's a thing that Andy posted up, which is a concept art of Marine with a bunch of aliens with this Wi-Fi screens on their heads.
Yeah, I like the look of it.
Mm.
I like the idea of it. I won't say anything about that just yet.
Yeah,
I do like I like the artwork.
Yeah,
I think that looks great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, just going back to the point, I think aliens sort of triggering pheromone trails, or you triggering a pheromone web, effectively, for it to home in on, is quite a nice. I think that's quite a nice little explanation for how it finds its way around and gets to you efficiently without apparently having eyes. But just like Steve says, you know, you don't really want it to be explained.
No, you don't.
Which is kind of that weird thing, because as soon as you do, you get something like Prometheus, where it gets explained and you go, oh, in terms of the engineers.
It's one of those things, is what the sci-fi writer William F. Nolan said is the door problem. You set up a situation where there's something knocking at a door, and sooner you have to open the door. When you do, you go, it's a 10-foot bug. And people go, well, then they go, oh, thank Christ for that. I thought it was a 100-foot bug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, there are ways to do. I think the first Alien does explain enough, but not enough. It leaves... You've got to explain enough to leave a grey area for people's imagination to work in and go mental in.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so as we said before, the problem is once you start establishing too many rules, you start diminishing your villain, effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which gets us round to the Queen, but we haven't got to that bit yet. Yet.
Not yet, no. We have to touch on the Queen not soon, but we do have to, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. Yeah, okay. No worries. So, okay. One thing to ask you guys then is, do you think the creature is genuinely scary, or do you think it's just the fact that in Alien you're trapped in a room with it? If it was like you're in an open street with hundreds of people and there's just one of them, would it be that scary? Or is it, what I'm trying to say is the idea of the creature scary enough, or is it just the fact that it's filmed by Ridley Scott on top of his game in a really claustrophobic environment.
Ooh.
So what I'm saying is, if it was the same film but with a tiger, would it matter?
No, I think in the first film, it's the fact that it looks so strange, it moves so strange. There's bits where you can get this idea, and we can sort of theorize about its natural history. We get enough detail, but still we don't really understand it or where it came from or what it was doing on the derelict. And I think it was so different from other movie monsters that made it a scary thing, because your mind, you couldn't quite grasp, you get your head around what it was and what it was doing. I think in later films, aliens from that is kind of, you stick them anywhere and I'll throw pies at them and laugh.
Yeah.
They're not scary. And that is largely because they've just become dumb animals. It might as well just be a shark on legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Thomas McCambley also says it would still be scary in a fully lit zoo. Yeah, I think fair enough. What about you, Elton?
I feel later versions of it, especially from, Aliens did scare me. Alien 3, I just looked forward to seeing it. It became a dinosaur in Alien 3 onwards for me.
Yeah.
Whereas it shows threat, and you can feel peril from that threat, but yet it's gonna be all right. But with Alien, it was such a peculiar creature, and when I was first introduced to it, the long head, I just wondered what was all that about. I'd never even thought about doing anything like that, drawing anything like that, creating anything like that. Why has it got the long head and the tubes on the back, on its back, and that funny spine fin thing on its spine? It was so peculiar, and I feel if it was in the middle of a park, you'd want to get close to it, but not too close. There'll be other fuckers with their cameras out taking pictures of it, and you think, go on, just go a little bit further, just a bit closer, you little cunt.
Yeah.
It'll take you out.
Go on, away you go.
Yeah. When it's hunkered down and hiding, or when it was in the vents before it got Brett, it's just dangling there. It's so peculiar. With a tiger, as you said, the tiger wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of its scariness is the behavior. Because in the first film, the alien is a villain. In the other films, it's just a monster. And often it's multiple monsters, and it loses that being an individual, organized threat.
It turns into a zombie, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's effective. I mean, I think in the first film, it's scary because it's not just going rah. It's just kind of, I don't know if I feel him now, I think.
Yeah.
You're going to get dragged away into the darkness, my son.
Yeah.
And you don't know why.
Yeah. I mean,
whereas in all the other ones, it's just going to splat you at the end.
Yeah.
And you know what it's going to do. And it's kind of, doesn't, once you deal with the initial horror of it, it's kind of, okay, next.
Yeah.
Well, I feel that leads quite well on to what was it doing on the escape ship when Ripley escaped from the Nostromo on the Narcissus. So yeah, I always get that wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
Because it was kind of hibernating, wasn't it? As if it laid the 2 eggs. It was converting 2 bodies into 2 eggs. My work here is done. I can go to sleep now.
Yeah, I mean, just before we go on, I mean, Martin does actually bring up the creature gets boring because of its diminishing returns. After you've seen it the first time, nothing can match it. There is an actual canonical theory for what it's doing, but I will leave it. I'll leave it for a second, because if you guys have got a theory you want to throw out there, because basically Ridley Scott in the Alien Vault, the Ian Berryman book, basically Berryman basically interviews Ridley and says, "Look, what was it doing? What was it trying to do? What was it trying to accomplish?" And he comes out with an answer. But whether or not it's agreed, it's just his thought. But so what do you think about it getting on Narcissus then, Jim?
I think it's a case of, oh no, you don't, Mrs. You're not getting away. I'm having every last one of you. Plus, looks like you're going somewhere really interesting.
Yeah. Ooh, where are you going? Yeah. Like a cat hanging outside the door going, whoa, where are you going? Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Elton?
I feel like it was settling down. Its work was done, and it had already created 2 other eggs where it was. This is how I feel the creature works. It comes from an egg, it pops out, and then its natural instincts kick in to preserve its race and its species.
Mm.
And so it's already done that. It's done its job by creating 2. And if them 2 create another 2 and them 2 create another 2, you've got swarms of it. You've got literal herds of aliens everywhere. And not that it was, I don't think it was settling down to die where it was. I like the idea of what Jim just said, where are we going? You seem to be wanting to go through this door. I think I might settle down there for a little nap.
Mm.
I feel it was either going to lay down, and if nothing happened, it would die, but its spirit would live on in other eggs. But if it was awoken like Ripley did, then it takes quite a lot for it to be agile, reawoken.
Mm.
It shows its hand, and it's like, hello, I'm here. I'm not going to do much. You're not posing any threat to me at the moment.
Mm.
And it was quite happy just being in that little cooped up room. No escape for anyone else. It knows its environment. And so it will just sit there and then see what happens in the next stage of its life. Because if it knows it's in a cooped up room with Ripley, then it can perform what it's doing to Dallas anytime it wants. It doesn't know when the door's going to be open.
No.
But I feel maybe it's feeding off the atmosphere again.
Yeah.
It's done its job, and now it's recouping itself, maybe recharging its batteries, so to say. And then it would be doing it again for Ripley, because all of that organic matter to go into making the eggs has come from that alien.
Yeah.
It's made its kind of nest in the Nostromo. So that has to come from somewhere, and that's come from that alien. And so maybe it's just recharging its batteries, and then it can perform that act again.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not far off. And Thomas McCamberley on the chat says that he thought it was like an insect at the end of its life, just sort of shutting down. Where basically Ridley Scott said that he thought that the creature was like a mayfly. And basically, it springs up, it does what it needs to do, it propagates its species, and then it just goes and ferries itself away just to die. And that would also explain why there isn't one on the derelict. Because it's gone off, it's done its job, it's kind of, it's, got the crew of the derelict and turned them into a big field of eggs, and then it's just gone off and curled in a corner, and job's done. Job's a good one. And
so that harks back to one of the secret origins of Alien, which is a Tom Baker Doctor Who story, The Ark in Space.
Yes.
Now, for those who don't know, very quick précis, set in the far future, Earth, there's going to be solar flares, so the brightest and best of Earth have set up an orbiting space station and gone into cryogenic sleep. However, while they're sleeping away the effect of the solar flares with the plan to, once it's all over, they'll wake up and go and recolonize the Earth, a space-traveling insect species called the Wirren, one flaps by, chews its way in, goes, ooh, dinner, and implants an egg in one of the sleepers. And then it dies. And they actually have a great scene where they open a cupboard and this huge insect comes out. But and that's the cliffhanger. But you discover at the start of the next episode that it's dead. It's spawned and it's died.
Yeah.
And interestingly, in that, the Wirren are a species that do this, but they absorb traits from their host. And they have intelligence as well. They're not just an animal. And when they discover the Nerva beacon with the brightest and best of humanity frozen on them, they go, brilliant. This means our species in one nesting can move from being a parasitic carnivorous species to a technological one by absorbing these human and all their skills.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the Wirren. Yeah, they're interesting looking things. Yeah, that's abandon the ark. Anyway, yeah, no.
So it's a very interesting one to go back. There's a lot of things you find turned up later in Alien.
Yeah,
of slime crawling through to ventilation shafts. And not to mention the later things we've got in the alien mythos is the idea that they absorb traits from their host.
Yeah.
So the way they did it in the Alien franchise was kind of, well, this was an excuse to make lots of silly alien toys of bull aliens and rhino aliens.
Oh, can we all just we can acknowledge that they exist in the real world, but can we just acknowledge that that's a complete pile of old bollocks that they tried to turn into a cartoon for kids?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh God, that's no.
I'm just glad that they didn't make toys for Prometheus. Please don't say that they did.
They have. There's tons of them. If you go on the Forbidden Planet, it's a whole section.
What, actual toys?
They're toys for grown-ups, though, now, aren't they?
Well,
they're not doing a sat demoing cartoon.
No.
Like they did in the 80s, they took things like Rambo, RoboCop, kind of hard R films, and thought, let's do a Saturday morning cartoon based on these. Why not? Yeah, Toxic Avenger, the cartoon. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly. As Andy says, like RoboCop,
there's a lot
and
of
Little
crack
Shop
in
of
the
Horrors.
networks there.
Yeah, exactly. The crack was cool and clear and running free. Aliens toys, no. Anyway, yeah, so the idea was that it went onto the Narcissus, and that was almost going to be the irony that basically she blows up the ship. She blows up the ship, sees the creature, and then at the end of the film it just kind of flops onto the deck and it's dead. It's like, what killed it? Oh, it's done its job. Oh, so I shouldn't have blown up the ship then. It's like, ultimate Twilight.
Accounts are going to go crazy.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, how much is this thing cost? 42 million in adjusted dollars. So it's another one of those sort of odd things that kind of eventually got turfed out because, having the creature just die of its own natural causes is not something that you would call a cliffhanging, exciting finale, is it?
Yeah. So at the moment, let's just recap. What are we saying? The crew of the derelict was turned into eggs?
That's the theory I like to stick with. As far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know what Jim's saying about the blue laser light, but I know that also that the blue laser light was only included at the last minute because in the studio next door, the Who were testing them out for a stage show, and they borrowed them.
Okay.
So the
laser lights could have been there anyway. They could have had cabbages in there originally.
Yeah,
keeping them fresh. So.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole idea is that that laser light wasn't actually even considered to be a part of the story or anything. It's just like literally a set designer went past and went, "Oh, the Who are finished with their laser lights. Brilliant. Can we borrow one?" Yeah, that's it.
In my version of the story, it would be rhubarb, not cabbages. I'd just like to say.
Yeah, and there's also I think it's 2000 AD, or was it a Dark Horse comic where it turns out you see the alien eggs and you see them all sitting there under the blue mist, and then you suddenly see one of them open up and you see the the facehugger leap out, and then you realise that the engineers grow up to be a lot bigger, and actually they use them for like fried egg dinners or something. So the thing leaps out and just goes. The creature at the other end kind of just goes, spicy, something like that.
Jeez.
Anyway, that's completely apocryphal, and we will not.
I will not tolerate this. Stop it.
Not. No.
Right. So the engineers have been turned into eggs.
Mm-hmm.
A drone, a solitary drone, has laid them all in perfectly, sown its seed in fields of corn, I suppose.
Yeah.
Laid them all out. Then we get the impregnation, the gestation period as well, which I think works in the Alien movie. Yeah. They play around with it in certain other movies.
Yeah. I mean, in the first one, it's kind of hinted that it's like a good couple of days. And then in sort of like in Alien 3, it's like a good couple of days. So that's not too bad. But in like Alien versus Predator, it's like 20 minutes.
Which bugs the crap out of me.
It's just, fuck the fuck off, Paul W.S. Anderson, please. In Aliens, it's never really you never really work out. Because by the time everyone's arrived, it's, all done and dusted.
There is one colonist left, gummed up, isn't she?
Yeah, but whether or not she's been there for a couple of days, or how long she's been there, or when she was caught, it's all a bit up in the air.
Well, I like that scene because she could have been there for days like that, and the movement of her head, the alien is incubating inside her. And so moving her head wakes her up and then triggers a process of, oh, hang on, I need to be born.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly a lot better than, Alien Resurrection, where it happens in a course of 1 single hour and then happens because the guy's holding the bad guy's head to his own belly.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you remember that? So you can get a double, not only a chest burster, but a chest burster through the back of someone's head.
What's inside me? What's inside me?
Oh, fucking Joss Whedon needs to be taken outside and slapped for that. Seriously.
So yeah, that chest burster had the force to push on that guy's spine, push through his chest, and then through one side of the skull, and then through to the other side of the skull.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And the guy, as we see in Alien and we see in Aliens, and not so much in the other two, but an alien trying to get out is a pretty fucking severe thing. Yeah, Specky what's it face manages to stand there, hold a man's head in place, and go, just what? Yeah, okay. Like, anyway. But what I was going to say was shall we move on to the chest burster itself?
Yeah.
Because the one thing I always had in my mind is that the chest burster comes out the chest only because it can't get out of the throat.
What, in Kane? Because he's eating?
Yeah. Because what happens is he starts to choke and he tries to breathe, and you can see him going like that. And I always got the sense, and again, this may come back to what we always thought back in the day before we had these 40 years to think about it, but I always thought that what it tried to do was try to force its way up his sort of throat and couldn't. And so it sort of backs back down and sort of goes out another direction, goes through his rib cage. But it doesn't go through his sternum, and it just kind of basically panics and just punches its way out. So it tries one way, tries another, and then basically that's why it takes the chest route.
Right, yeah, you would have thought it would take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Well, for a creature that toothy, I mean, why bother climbing up the alimentary canal where you just, punch through the diaphragm.
Yeah.
I just took it is like kind of those horrible parasitic worms that people get in Africa in particular, and they're really inches long and gross, but you get them through infected water, they gestate in your stomach, and then it actually burrows its way down and actually pops out your leg. So it can get to some more water to lay its eggs and continue the cycle.
Oh, I've seen that where they have the stick and they roll it on the stick.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, what are they, ragworms or something, aren't they? Or
they're an abomination.
Yeah. Not that little fish that goes up the wee into your willy.
No.
Yeah. But, I mean, as Andy says, he thinks it's too big to go out the throat. And in any case, it would probably have headed south. Yeah, let's not. Shit weasels.
Sliver?
Shit weasels. Yeah, from was it
Dreamcatcher?
Oh, God. Anyway, the thing I was going to say with the chest burster though is obviously there's two versions of it. There was the version they wanted to do, which they couldn't in Alien, which had arms, and so they went for this thing which was more like a snake. And in the later ones, it had arms. Which one do we prefer? And do we think it's sensible for it to have arms, or does it have to evolve the arms, grow the arms?
See, I like the original being like a toothy tadpole.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that's...
And it'd add the arms later because they're not necessary for it at that stage.
Yeah. What about you, Elton?
I like not having the arms. I thought you could see the arms on that puppet, though.
No. They were like little tiny like nubbins. They were. Everyone's posting up.
So like Finn's claws, so just
But
vestigial, really.
For anyone who has become a father, they will know that their children, when they're very first, the newborns, days old, their feet and legs are kind of all molded into one. They kind of hold their own shape, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm describing that right, but you look at their legs and it just pulls back into like the fetal position at points. And I thought just the arms were they weren't needed to get out. And they were needed at a later date, and so there was no need for them to be fully grown at that time. So I'm quite happy without arms. The one in Aliens that we saw where it had arms, I think it just adds to the effects, but it doesn't take anything away from that beast.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, because whenever I see him with arms, it just reminds me of Kermit the Frog. I put sort of when he goes, the Muppet Show, and he kind of flaps his arms around, uselessly. I mean, I've just put a GIF in the chat room so you can see the original creature. You can see it's got like little tiny sort of vestigial arms, something not quite there. And I think that's about as far as you need to go. But you see the one in Aliens, it's literally got like big long gangly arms. I think that looks silly.
I prefer that version, the Alien version.
Yeah. And in the case of Alien 3, with it having a dog leg and having its little shaky legs and everything.
Right. Well, okay.
Which I'm also sticking in the chat.
There's a couple of things with this. You have the face hugger issue with Alien 3 as well. And people do wonder were there two face huggers on that thing? No, apparently that face hugger was a queen laying face hugger, and it laid two embryos, so you'd have a queen and a drone. I don't subscribe to that email. I think that's a horrible way of doing things. I like the idea of maybe a face hugger laying two eggs, but not specifically a queen one. I think in that sort of environment, if you want to go down the queen route, then you'd have a gaggle of aliens, and then one would develop into the dominant one, and then that would just build itself up into the queen itself. You wouldn't lay a queen alien egg. But with it copying the traits of the dog, as we know, there's two versions of this. There's one from the buffalo that comes out in the director's cut.
Which is the one that's in the GIF that I've just put up on the chat.
Right. I like the dog egg. Dog egg.
Dog egg. Nice.
Oh, Jesus. I like the dog alien. I like the idea of it taking traits from its host. But if you want to do that, then really, if it's come from a buffalo, then it should be a lumbering piece of shit.
I don't need. No, it's just no need. If you put, see, the idea of a parasite is it's something that feeds off of something else. It doesn't take traits. There's all this taking traits from hosts thing. Where I don't know where this came from. Apart from the fucking comic, the cartoon.
If you're in the stomach of an animal, or if you're feeding off that animal, then you're kind of linked into that animal, and then that's how you're growing. You're using your host's.
You're using the
body.
material. You're using the materials. That's all. I mean,
so you're getting the DNA from it.
Are you? Are you getting the DNA from it?
Well, if you're taking,
because that never made sense to me, because at the end of the day, the alien goes into someone's stomach. You have to ask why. Well, one of the reasons would obviously be that's first access to food, plus it's acidic, which is obviously something that the alien would obviously like as an environment. It's warm. That's it. That's like saying if I took the alien embryo and stuck it in a Tesco's bag, it would come out as a blue and white striped loaf of bread. Yeah, yeah. So I just don't.
Not quite, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? Essentially, what you're providing is is providing a nice warm bag with food going in one end to grow. That's all you're doing. I mean, that's the same as, yeah. As Jack Woodgate says, if you eat a chicken, you don't start clucking. Well,
it's one of those things. If you notice, the chest burster doesn't actually feed on the host body, not in the way like conventional parasites we're familiar with does. I mean, they're literally completely.
Yeah,
they're laid in a host because look, there you are. You've got an incubator and a ready meal. Whereas this, it just incubates inside, then bursts out, and then runs off somewhere dark to do whatever it does and become 7 foot tall.
Exactly.
I mean, I know that actually the idea of how it takes on the DNA traits, but it's kind of, I don't know, that never sit right for me, because it's kind of, well, it seems to go against the sort of biological kind of imperatives of kind of to propagate your species if you're cross melding with things.
Yeah.
But I see where it comes from, because I mean, the idea of the facehugger and the chest burster does come from, it was a solution to a story problem of how does the alien get on the ship. And Ron Shusett got up and said, what if it fucked him?
Yeah. Exactly. Pretty much what he did. He just went, what if he fucked him?
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, what you said there about it, you don't like the idea of it watering it down its own DNA with other DNA from different creatures.
Well, it stops it being the ultimate predator because it ends up being the ultimate dog's dinner. Whereas that's partly that ties into if you go down the it's a scary animal route.
I agree with that, but also if you did take aspects of the DNA from the creature you're in, then you're adapting yourself to that creature and its own environment. And so you're ready-made for your own the environment that you're going to burst out onto.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't necessarily need to become like a bit bullish or a bit platypus-like you just need to take oxygen breathing, need a drink of water, that kind of thing.
No, I understand that. But what happens if you landed on a world of trees and monkeys and water, and all that grew, it was a water world with just trees that poked out the water and monkeys that swung on the branches? You'd have to adapt to that. It sounds like a terrible film anyway, so don't actually go with that one.
I would not like to subscribe to your newsletter, and I'd like you to get off my porch. I mean, as far as it goes, the first one and the second film, none of them touch on that at all. They leave that completely alone. They don't go anywhere near it. It's only the third one where they go, we got to do something different with it. And then they immediately stick it in a dog, and then they make it a bull, and then they make it a dog bull, and then they make it a fucking, I don't know, chaffinch.
Dog egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Steve Bob says here, evil bastard wasp does not become like a spider because he lays his eggs in it.
No, that's true.
And, again, the problem with this, the problem we keep coming back to again and again and again is that the first one got it right. The second one tweaked it. And then as soon as they did that, they gave everyone else license to just fuck about with it.
Right. But with just 2 minutes to go before we have a little wee break. Sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
When you do say that the wasp doesn't become a spider, but that wasp and that spider live on this planet, and they are not intergalactical things that float around in space and go between planet and planet. If you become that alien that we think is being transported, I see it as more of a cancer to the universe that it lives in, and it will sprout up willy-nilly and it will cause problems. That's why it's good at incubating itself, and that's why it's good at hiding itself.
You mean it's almost like someone sort of spills some sort of black goo everywhere and it just suddenly springs up?
Not goo, no. I'm just thinking of it needs to adapt to its position, because it's going into so many different planets, and it's built for that environment that it's in.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Oh dear. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break now.
I was going to say, because Andy just put up Cordyceps, which is basically something really interesting. But I think it's going to take longer than 58 seconds to talk about.
Yeah. So we'll take a break now. We'll be back in 15 minutes or so, and then we'll try and cram the rest of this creature into one more part, I suppose.
Yeah. Should we say Uranus a couple of times? Will that help?
Why not? Yeah. We've got 20 seconds. Why not?
Yeah. How much of Uranus could we fit into 20 seconds?
I reckon you could squeeze quite a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many aliens go into Uranus?
Plenty do.
Nice. Do you? What would happen if a facehugger jumped on your bum? And then he shat on a turtle. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone.
A whole new meaning of the phrase "the turtle's head."
Yeah, just poked out the. Never mind.
Right. Okay. So where were we? I think had we completely covered the chest burster?
Yeah, we were just kind of finishing off. Yeah, we were just finishing off the whole thing about, like, why would it pick the DNA from its host?
Yeah.
Why would it? Which I think we're all agreed is nonsense now.
Yes, I've been talked into it, yes.
Good. That's good. I'm just going to sit here, just not... I'm like a disapproving schoolmaster, just dipping my tea bag, just not looking at you, just saying, I think we all agreed, aren't we?
Yes, we are all agreed. Okay, shall we move on to the Queen?
The Queen! Queen.
The Queen.
Go on then. Go for it.
Okay, there have been officially 4 films with the Alien Queen in. There's Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, and Alien vs. Predator. But we all prefer the director's cut of Alien 3, so that doesn't count.
What's that got to do anything?
It in the theatrical version, it bursts through Ripley.
Yeah, but it's still a queen in the director's version, isn't it? It's still
you can still see it on the X-ray.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah, that still counts, I suppose.
By the
4 films, then.
By the way, just a little side, because my brain's just twigged. But I've got a copy of Cinefex, which covers Alien 3. And to do that X-ray thing, they actually had to do a body cast of Sigourney Weaver and then body cast a load of actual bits and then did actually do X-ray scans on it. Which means that when there's a picture I've got in Cinefex where you can actually see a fully nudie Sigourney Weaver plus fuzzy lady bits.
Oh, Jesus.
But it's a plastic one. I just thought I'd say that. They obviously they went to the effort of putting all the fuzzy bits on in the correct place as well. So there you go.
Are we getting to a difficult FAP territory?
No. Apart from the fact he's got no head or any feet. I mean, if you just crop it in a bit, you'd be fine.
Oh God, you sound like the kid who can't find dirty porn down his alley.
Euphemism.
Not like that.
Sorry, it just came to mind just because you were talking about Alien 3 X-rays and stuff. So there.
Okay, so best representation of the Alien Queen. I'll tell you what. No, first off, do we agree with having the Alien Queen there, Jim?
No. I think, no, in fairness, I think it works to create a good last act, last battle cinematically. But kind of in terms of the mythology of the creature, it's kind of, it's one of those, it detracts from the aliens themselves. And it's kind of, it's just pimp my monster, really. And it's kind of, we'll just make it bigger, stick more pipes on it, give it a fancy airbrush, and another set of teeth. And it's just kind of, it's an idea that kind of, I thought it was incredibly cool as a teenager. But as I get older, I'm just less impressed with that kind of just bigger, better, make it more fiddly kind of approach. It's kind of, you think, no, it doesn't, no, not really.
Okay, what was your favourite version of it then? Out of all the ones that you don't agree with?
I think the first version is the best. My least favourite is Mama Turd Monster in Alien Resurrection, giving birth to William Hague. No.
I was thinking Michael Gove, but it's all good.
You can update it. It was William Hague, and then I watched it a few years later, and political landscape, it was Ian Duncan Smith. And let's see it now, it will be Michael Gove. So it's funny that.
Hollow-eyed, slack-faced creature. Yeah, it's weird how you get to that.
Which fucking whimpers as well.
Oh, yes. God.
Has a human tongue and big puppy eyes.
It's a beautiful butterfly.
Oh.
Anyway, quick, offer quotes. Lee, do you agree with having the Queen there or not?
I think I'm with Jim. I think as a finale, last, face down a critter narrative, it's fine. It represents two mums coming together. Thematically, it all works. In terms of actual mythos and creature and everything we've seen before, it's just taking the piss and diminishes the creature. And there's been a lot of chat on the chat room mentioning aliens and Borg. And if you ever see the Borg in Star Trek Next Generation, they're just space zombies. They just come at you relentlessly cut your ship to bits and nick you. Whereas in the film, they have to have an alien, they have to have a Borg queen, so you have something central so you can destroy. And Independence Day Resurgence did the same thing. You have to have a bigger, badder, worse, more. And while that's nice in terms of just standalone movies, it's not good in terms of the creature, because the creature's so well constructed in the first place. Why do you need to go any further than that? You have to sort of suddenly start thinking, well, no, let's deal with characters. Put them in a different situation. Let's try and make it more interesting that way. The creature is what it is, You fight make a movie about fighting a tiger, and then you do another movie about fighting a tiger. You don't suddenly make the tiger have wings and a big fucking hat.
Yeah. At a jaunty angle.
Angle. And just before we go too far off the track and I forget entirely, some Aliens fans really do love this idea, and they go even further, and it's now gone as far as this little number, which I'm putting in the chat room right now, which is by Sideshow Toys and will cost you a nifty 200 quid. Have a look at that. It's the Alien King.
Yeah, I've heard of the Alien King.
It's like,
wasn't that part of the comics, part of the Dark Horse comics at some point?
Yeah, Aliens Rogue, it's called. And it's just like, it diminishes it further because it suddenly just stops it from being, it just becomes a dinosaur. It's just like, why? What is the point in that? Yeah, look, Andy Placides, fuck off. Pretty much what I said. Yeah. And Doreen's going, why? Well, exactly. It's purest of fan wank, and Dark Horse Comics has done the best for Aliens in terms of developing the universe. But shit like this, it just is, it's everything wrong with the whole series going forward from Alien. But anyway, and as going back to the Queen, yeah, I'm with Jim basically 100% on this. As far as best representation, it's going to be controversial. I think the first time you see it, you can't beat the first time you see anything, really. But I think in terms of actually doing what it needs to do and being like a genuine threat, I think the Alien vs. Predator one is actually very, very well done. It's about the only thing I will give Alien vs. Predator any kind of credence with. Yeah. That one which comes out of the frozen with all the chains and everything and starts going fucking rampaging through that old whaling town. I think it's really nicely done. And you get a sense that this thing is really pissed, and it's
massive.
It's fucking enormous. And while I don't like the movie per se, and I'm not entirely keen on the aliens, because the aliens have dog legs. Why? Because they did in Alien 3 and it looked cool. The Queen itself, I think, is that nice little sort of halfway house between a maquette, which, worked really well in the first one, worked terribly in Resurrection. And then, so they went, let's make a CG one and actually take our time on it. And actually, there you go. It was very good.
Yeah.
Now, what is this? What have you just posted? What the fuck is that? What on God's green earth is that?
That is, I've just put this on the Shonky Lab page and the Mixler chat. And it is a fan interpretation of an alien queen. It's what the creature, if it was engineered by engineers like Prometheus would, the engineers would engineer, God, I'll keep saying that word, I won't say that anymore,
no,
a queen, but they need an idea for it. And so this would be the creature that they based their queen on.
Is this one that was born from Zaphod Beetlebrox?
I tell you what it looks like. It looks like someone started to draw a fucking Dilophosaurus, and one of those ones with a big fucking trumpet on the top of its head, and then suddenly went, actually, no, I haven't got enough room for that. Oh, I was halfway through scribbling a person. Okay, well, I'll just put blend the two together. Oh, what's that kind of half-assed scribble I made over here? It looked a bit like a bat. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make that a head and stick some teeth. What a load of old cock. Seriously.
Yeah,
big.
It reminds me actually of the alien knockoffs in Pitch Black with his big daft kite head.
Yeah. But at least the aliens in Pitch Black had, like, legs and limbs that look like they came from the same creature. This looks like it's got an arse of a dinosaur, 4 arms that just happen to be hanging around. Actually, it's got 6 arms.
6?
Yeah, it's got 6 arms.
6 arms. And a tail that just... What is going on with that tail? It's like someone started drawing a slug and then just thought, nah, fuck it, I'll fill that in.
It's got 6 arms, and yet it still can't scratch its arse.
Yeah. Oh, that's just... Whoever did that needs to just go outside and have a little think about what they do during their life. I mean, it was Tricera alien, Doreen calls it. It's just, what? It looks like one strong wind and the fucking thing would disappear off a cliff.
You wouldn't find it roaming through thick forest, would you?
However, DJ Moffat on the Facebook group has said, I'm not able to listen to the live stream, but this is one of the things I loved about the Xenomorphs is that they could take on the physiological attributes of their host.
Right.
He hasn't heard the rest of the cast, has he?
Oh, no.
So, or she. I don't know if it's a he or a she. It's DJ Moffat. So, well, DJ Moffat, yeah.
We've all decided in the plainest terms, that's guff, shall we say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if everyone's got their own headcanon for this stuff, and that's probably a good thing because the alien can be what you want it to be.
Oh, God, yeah. It's taken me 20 years to get to this point.
But...
Because trying to get us back on track, I loved the Alien Queen when I first saw her. I liked the idea of it. Now it's getting a bit old, and it does dilute the original Alien for me. I prefer the egg morphing type alien than the actual queen and laying its eggs. I liked the idea of the nest, but when you break it down and it transforms it into an Earth-based creature. And that's not what Alien is all about. It's supposed to be something you don't understand, you don't get. And applying stuff that is from this world in the form of a queen, i.e. either a honey bee or an ant or something like that, it just takes something away from it. It takes mystique away from it, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah. The more you explain anything like that, the more you... I don't know, the more you realise that it's more mundane. As Jim said right at the beginning, it's like you hear a knock on the door, your brain goes to whatever scares you most. And then you open the door and find out, it's only a 20-foot bug when you're really scared of a 100-foot bug.
Yeah.
And the more you do that sort of stuff with things like Alien, where you give it a queen, you give it a king, you say that, it came out of a rabbit, so it's got big fucking feet or fluffy tail, or, as soon as you start doing shit like that, you put rules on it. And, as we said, I think we said when we did Aliens on the Black Dog recently, it's like, as soon as you give a monster rules, you immediately know how to defeat it. You undermine it. You stop it.
Yeah.
You turn around and just go, right, okay. Dracula doesn't like sunlight. Fine. Let's have all the windows. Let's have UV sun lamps everywhere. Oh, the Wolfman can't touch silver. Brilliant. Let's have silver handles on the doors, and let's do. As soon as you start sticking rules on things, you immediately have a reason to get out of it. The reasons why it can't be in your house because I haven't invited it.
Yeah.
Doreen goes past the holy water.
So with the Queen in Aliens, in that film, we're just introduced to a hive and a hive mentality that's on LV-426. where do we think that queen came from? Because it's in there now, it is canon. But where do we think that queen came from? Did it come from an egg? Did it then grow in a host and then burst out as a queen? Or was it a drone that turned into a queen? Or was it still on the derelict?
I don't think it was on the derelict. I think if it was on the derelict, then they would have killed it, because that fucking thing would have been very hard to very hard to miss coming over the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's like a bee. It gets, and they did this kind of thing in bloody Dark Horse comics. But you get a drone, and essentially you feed it royal jelly or whatever it is that it feeds on, and it just subtly alters the embryo and it changes into something else.
Mm.
So, going back to the bees thing again, and that's essentially it. That's in some ways, if you want to try and headcanon it towards Alien, then what you say is one of those eggs that, either Dallas or Brett were turning into, was being changed into a specific queen egg to propagate the species.
Yeah.
If you want to go that far. Personally, I wouldn't. But,
Yeah, you saying royal jelly, there was a story in the Dark Horse comics where there
was a whole arc of it.
They were mining it, and I think it was athletes were using it as a steroid, and they were doing a 100-meter run, and some guy just beat the world record for the 100-meter run, and then couldn't stop running, and then ran himself into a wall, and then turned himself into jam.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically, there was a whole series of stories based around trying to get it. I think it was called Genocide or something like that. There was Genocide, there was Hive.
Genocide was the one with the red aliens and the black aliens.
That's right. Yeah, and so basically, I mean, Hive was the main one, and then there was Genocide, which was the one with the different aliens fighting over the different types of jelly and shit. And and then there was the sequel to that, which was bloody Crusade. Oh, God, and Countdown. Oh, God, I'm getting flashbacks to all these terrible comics I bought. Oh, they were bloody
I still have most of mine.
Yeah, I still have them in the loft. If anybody wants them, give me an offer. You can have them. And basically, the overexposure of this royal jelly for humans not only made them run into walls and turn into jam and what have you, they started to warp them. And then they slowly worked this idea up that, people who were overexposed to this stuff ended up looking like engineers.
Oh, God.
With kind of alien-style cranial bits and biomechanical stuff and all that kind of thing. And then they tried...
Didn't the Dark Horse have their own engineers who were kind of like big elephant fellas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were sort of like... They had a whole thing of dropping aliens onto planets, basically wiping out the local population and then pressing a button that just wiped out all of the aliens in a single shot because they had a special gun. And then they would just sweep up the debris and then take over the planet. Ugh.
Right. So, the Queen, in our own opinion, it was a nice beast while it lasted.
Mm.
I think, can we all agree that it looked and moved and was just physically there better in Alien vs. Predator, the only good part of that movie?
I think that's fair enough. I mean, again, mileage may vary, and if someone, was to disagree and say Aliens was the best version, then I'm not going to sit there and argue with them about it.
No.
I think it's just a matter of taste at that point.
Yeah.
I think the Alien Queen is, when I first saw Aliens, it was, of course, what laid all the eggs in the derelict? It must be a queen.
Mm.
And that makes sense until you think about it a bit more. Then you go, hang on, well, no, it doesn't actually.
No, it makes even less sense. Because yeah, as Elton rightly stumbled over, it was like the whole thing of like, well, in which case, where's the Queen now? Where is she now? Why isn't the entire planet covered in eggs? You know, why is she limited to just that bit there? But
yeah, should have been churning them out.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, the whole planet just be smothered in them. So yeah, it all gets a bit silly.
Okay, well, going from the Queen then, in Alien Resurrection.
Oh, okay.
I think we all know where we're going with this. And we have to, I'm afraid. There is a byproduct of Ripley and the Queen that they engineered to bring out of her, which I don't get in anyway. And the actual Queen gave birth to, what's it called, a proto-alien?
Newborn.
William Hague.
Yeah. Fucking.
Which was just an abomination. If that film wasn't already just pounding your head against a brick wall, then this was a hammer and an anvil to help you do the job. It really was.
Yeah, Andy Placidy says it's all a hyperspace dream. All a dream. I think he's right. But, I mean, the Queen had a human womb of some form because it was in the same way as Ripley got some DNA from the alien that she was mixed in with. And let's not go into the fact that she'd been melted into a vat of several trillion tons of fucking molten metal. But let's not worry about that. The Queen they got out of her had the same thing in reverse. So it had basically a copy of Ripley's womb because reasons.
Right. How did
Horrible, but not in a good way.
Okay, were there any good bits about this proto-alien?
Well, the worst thing you have to suddenly think about is that if the Queen in Alien Resurrection, or whatever you want to call it, regurgitation, if it's got a human womb,
I know where you're going with this.
Well, how did the newborn get in there? Who did?
Well, that.
Who did the dirty deed?
Who did the dirty deed?
Because she was lying on her back as well, wasn't she?
The alien queen
legs
was.
akimbo.
Yeah, the alien queen was.
Can't be comfortable with all those back spines and pipes, but
yeah,
asking for gas and air.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was asking for gas and air at that point in the film, I tell you. Jesus Christ.
I was jamming an epidural straight into the top of my fucking skull. I was, but, yeah.
The way I see that she got pregnant from that, and she did get pregnant from it, is she'd been laying these eggs anyway. She's the reason why there's lots of eggs on that ship. And so one of them just happened to get her on her back, and then it fell into the womb, and then just check. Do you know what? I don't even know what I'm fucking actually saying.
Is this one of those you sat on a dirty toilet seat and now you're pregnant kind of conversation?
It is, yeah. It really is.
That's just no, just no.
I hate that monster as well because it is just a monster with horrible eyes and horrible features that just don't work. And then it's got all its bits hanging out across its stomach as well. So it too has reproductive organs just on display. I know it's not going to come out with trousers, but it's not Giga-esque.
No. It's going to that thing which they do in Aliens, funny enough. In Aliens, they do this thing with the bloody facehugger, where when you see the facehugger in Alien, it's like a bag of goo. You have no idea what any of that shit is all about. It's inside that, essentially it's in a cup, which is the facehugger. And you look at it and you're like, well, there's something here that looks a bit like an oyster, and there's a bit here that looks like a couple of fins, and what the fuck is all of that? And then along comes James Cameron and goes, yeah, aliens, Giga likes vaginas, let's do vaginas. And he just basically sticks a vagina on the bottom of the fucking facehugger. And suddenly it's like, well, okay, that's how we're going to do it now, you know, because that's really what Giga was all about, was just putting vaginas on shit instead of designing stuff. And it was like, because that's the thing, that's what people forget when you look at the Giga stuff. It's actually properly drawn in and drafts in, and it's shapes that you work out, shapes and designs that you see after staring at it. Not just someone just drawing a cock and then putting some bolts on the side of it. It's just like, no. And again, you know, that was one of the things that Cameron did that was just wrong. It was just, let's just stick a vag with a little willy sticking out of the vag, because it's an alien. Stick it on the bottom of the facehuggers. And then,
Andy's put a lovely photo up in the chat room of that.
Yeah, really don't need to be seeing shit like that.
No, it's just a horrible design. It's not scary. It's just, just go away.
Yeah. So I think we're all agreed that the newborn can go fuck off. But I still don't know quite.
For me, that is the low point of everything, that fucking thing.
Yeah.
He's going like... No, God, no. Is he just so far from what it should be? I mean, I know there's a lot of rubbish out there in the Aliens franchise, but this is just so off the boil and off the mark of where it should be even trying to aim for. I still remember in the cinema just going, what the hell is that? What have you done?
Yeah. And then to raise the stakes, they just have the newborn randomly slap the face off the Queen. It's just like, just in case she hadn't worked out it was dangerous. But I just put something in the chat room. Which you can have a look at, which is a representation in cake form of a queen giving birth to the newborn.
Oh, is that a cake?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God, I wouldn't even eat that.
But it nicely represents the big distended vag that the Queen suddenly had. Going back to my point of what on earth, where, how, why am I asking these questions?
Do you know, she's one step from having a paddling pool and giving birth in that, really, isn't she?
Pretty much.
I like the fact that she used to have high heels on.
Yeah. Well, actually, she did. She does. The original design. But the thing is, luckily, you know, Cameron had good sense not to actually show that bit. Oh. So, yeah.
So we've hit the low point then?
No, not quite. Not quite. We haven't quite got to Alien versus Predator Grid Alien.
Oh, the Pred Alien.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go there then. A lot of people like this design.
Why?
I'm not one of them though. I can't stand it.
Well, it's the same thing again. All through all of these designs, you go from the first Alien, it's pipes, it's engine bits, it's something completely unknowable. It's smooth, yet somehow it sparkles. It's bronze, it's cast metal, it's rough hewn, it's like hammerite on its back of its arms. And then you get to something in like Pred Alien, and basically it's a green monster with a predator's face, some dreadlocks, and some eyes missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everything that's wrong with, you know, just because everything wrong with monster design nowadays can be boiled down to the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just smooth, lumpy, with big sharp teeth. And that's it. You know, and they do that with the Alien, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, but if you're going to do that and you're taking away the mechanical in biomechanical, then, you know, it's not an alien. It's just a big flabby blob plasticine bastard with some teeth.
Yeah, I couldn't stand this. I wasn't a fan of Alien vs. Predator. I did go see this at the cinema too, and it just ruined the whole thing. It was just a horrible movie anyway, and I'm glad it's not part of the official canon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
I think my problem with the Pred-Alien is when you put them together, you realise the problem is they don't fuse well, and because essentially they are too similar, because Predator is a post-alien monster. And there isn't enough different elements to swap between them to make an interesting hybrid.
It's the mandibles, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well,
and dreadlocks? What?
Yeah.
So it gets its hairstyle now, does it? So
I'd rather they'd crossed it with Russ Abbott and it had a tartan tam o'shanter and and a kilt.
Yeah. Gentlemen, start your YouTube engines. Right. I mean, yeah, I agree. Does it sing reggae? Doreen wants to know. I mean, not quite.
It looks like it should. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, it's you can see it busking down at Camden Market next week. The thing with all monsters is, good ones, really good ones. It doesn't matter whether it's the alien or anything else, but just generally good monsters have a history. And there's this thing that Guillermo del Toro said that about Pacific Rim and Pan's Labyrinth. When people design monsters, he doesn't want to see them snarling. He doesn't want to see them with their hands up and all claws. What he wants to see is them standing still, just being generally just like, what do they do on their days off? What do they do when they're not killing people? They just stand around. And the personality should come through in those designs. And it kind of goes back to this whole thing with Alien. When the alien's not doing anything, it's sitting there and it's kind of like this smooth, shiny, mechanical thing. It's kind of beautiful, yet repulsive because it's shapes that shouldn't be connecting. And you think, right, fine. But you look at all these other aliens, ever since, and that has no connection to anything that came from the first film or even the second film. And all the time you see these monsters, they are just being monsters. They're like always snarling, always teeth everywhere, always going, always slime dripping off them. And it's just...
That's a curse of modern movie monsters, man, I hate.
Yeah.
Is they always have to stop and just roar and open their gobs as wide as possible.
Jaws 4.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, hold on, here we go. Let me show you this picture. I mean, right, here's a compare and contrast for you, right? I'm just going to see if I can find another one. Hold on. But, hold on. I'm doing so much Googling at the moment. You have no idea. So the thing is, it's all about keeping things neat, keeping things consistent. And okay, here we go, yes. So if I grab this, so if I get this picture here, here's a picture that I'm going to put in the chat. This is Giga, just about to take the alien out for a first run, if you know what I mean, in the, on the set. So here he is, right? Have a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so there he is. Now, have you noticed anything? Have you noticed any goo, any slime, anything, right? Now let me show you an alien from Alien Resurrection and see if you can just tell the difference. Right, there you go. I mean,
just disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's like someone started drawing the shape of the thing from the first picture, got bored, thought, well, if I put some plasticine over here and cover it in sweat, that'll be fine. It's everything that's wrong with monsters today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as Andy said, it looks like someone sneezed on it. I mean, it does.
It looks like it's just sneezed itself.
Yeah.
Or it's been apple bobbing.
Yeah. I mean, but it is. And then go back to the Giga picture I put up again and have a look at that. I mean, it's just like, it's shiny, it's smooth, it's metallic. There's pipes and bones and, clearly defined shapes.
Mm.
Whereas, fucking thing that Alien 4 did, I mean, there's no shapes there. That's just someone slapping lumps on things. Oh, God. I'm off on one again. I'm sorry.
No, this is what it was for.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you look at the head and those sculpted sort of curves and, the design and the streamlining and the pipes and all that's just gone in the second picture. It is a very pale shadow and a copy of something that was kind of horrific but beautiful.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there's no beauty there anymore, is there?
No.
I mean, what strikes me is from the first sequel onwards, you've lost that kind of mechanical and skeletal feel.
Yeah.
And there's something spooky and beautiful in that Giga alien.
Yeah.
Do you think losing the dome made a difference, especially between Alien and Aliens?
Yeah, I think so.
It makes them top heavy, I think. With this animal, it's kind of the Giga animal. It's kind of its head is large, but it's not kind of biologically unwieldy, and it just gives it. I don't know. It gives it a depth and it's visually a more interesting shape to look at, and you can light it in different ways. Whereas in Aliens, you just get this solid lump that just is a silhouette.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
And with loads of ridges all over it, which is adding detail, which is good. But also, what it's also doing is it's adding weird complexity to a model which doesn't need it, and you kind of end up kind of going, what am I looking at now? And
well, think about it. Throughout nature, things that have been on the earth for hundreds of thousands of years, let's say even millions of years, like a shark, it's smooth.
Yeah.
It's smooth for a reason. It's because it's developed that way. And if you take away that smoothness from the alien, you take years away from it as well. There is a history there. It is developed into that way, and there is a reason why that alien is that shape. As soon as Cameron took that off, I know he had reasons for it, but as soon as he took it off, you kind of take years off of it and years off the development of the creature itself.
Yeah, and I mean that. Go on, Jim.
And so looking at the Giga earlier, I mean that translucent dome, it has an element of it's like it's got its own spacesuit on.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Cameron alien with the ridges on the head, it's just a carapace. It's just got a bit paranoid and it's got a big helmet on.
Yeah.
Like a big crab shell. And that just isn't as interesting. Whereas you look at the Giga and you think, well, why is that? Why is it translucent? Why is it that shape? It's, you get a sense of there's some sort of, design purpose and evolutionary imperative that shaped it like that. Whereas the subsequent versions, it's just big and spiky because it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, and that again, it goes down to the same. It goes to the same problems all the time. It's like, no one who makes monsters at the moment has confidence just to make a monster look smooth or lay off some of the detail. They, just why bother overcomplicating things? As you say, Elton, things in nature go for efficiency. They go for smoothness. They go for things which will make their lives easier. They don't go for things that are going to get snagged on doors or fucking smashed into their environment. And that's the one thing that you can always look at a good monster throughout all of movie history. There's hundreds of them, but whenever you see a good one, you know, it goes for a biological imperative. It makes a reason. You can see the story on the thing. And, you know, whether or not you know, fundamentally understand it, it's a story or something it's telling you, but, you know, it's like, look at like something like Cloverfield. That bloody monster that comes out of the sea looks, if you were to look at it, you would have no idea that came out of the sea. You just go, what the fuck is that? It's all elbows and legs and arms and everything. It makes zero sense whatsoever. But, you know, and even less sense when you say, oh, it's a sea monster. You go, what?
Yeah, it doesn't suit the environment at all.
It doesn't look like a sea monster in the slightest. Whereas you look at something like the creatures from Tremors, which are, you know, really cheesy. Let's be honest, they are really cheesy monsters. But the fact of the matter is, if someone was to say to you, see this thing with a big sort of pinchy nose and all these spikes down its length and it's very long and thin, it lives underground, your first thought isn't, no, it doesn't. Your first thing, oh, right, okay, well, that explains a few things.
Yeah.
And Alien does that. It kind of, you know, it's adapted to its environment. It looks like it's kind of evolved up from somewhere, and you can kind of see that there's reasons for it to look the way it does. You might not understand those reasons, but they're there. You can definitely see something there. Whereas something like, I don't know, Vengeance the Demon, you know, Pumpkinhead, or, you know, the fucking aliens in later movies, you know, you just think, no, all you did was just get a man in a suit and stick a load of bubble gum on them and a load of teeth. It's like, doesn't make sense.
No.
Sorry. I'm off again.
That's fine. Anything else to say onto this before we go on to the future?
Not for me. I mean, like I say, I just end up going round and round in circles with this kind of stuff. Apart from the fact I've found something that if anybody wants to buy it for me for my birthday, yeah, that would be lovely. Which is a 7 foot tall alien model, which would be just nice. I'm just trying to find a picture that I can put on the wall. But it's it's lovely. The only problem is it's about $5.5 grand. But if you all want to club together, you know, you got a few days. But
Jim, do you want to add anything to this before we go on to the future?
No, let's go to the future.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we got Alien Covenant coming out next year, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we also possibly have Alien 5 coming out at some point. We don't know whether Neil Blomkamp is waiting for Ridley Scott to finish his trilogy or not. Because I've heard that he doesn't want to tread on his toes, and he's not allowed to tread on his toes.
Yeah.
Plus, there is the whole torturous development cycle of Alien sequels anyway.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so Covenant is going to be a sequel to Prometheus, but not really official sequel to Prometheus.
No, it is a sequel to Prometheus because it will be featuring Noomi Rapace and what was it?
Michael Fassbender.
Fassbender, yeah.
Yep.
Whether or not he's just a head or not is up, you know. But yeah, it is a sequel insofar as it's it features those actors in the same roles, but after that,
I've heard certain things. I won't mention them here because I don't want to spoil the new movies coming out. I'm just assuming that people have seen all the other movies. It's too late to give you a spoiler warning for all the other stuff that we've just been speaking for an hour and 2 hours, 45 minutes. What would you like to, Jim, what would you like to see in Covenant, or would you not like to see this at all?
Well, it's one of those things. It's kind of part of me, you know, like us all, we want answers to our questions. But when we get the answers to such questions, generally we find we don't like them. And that's always the problem with this kind of thing, you know, and that's not just applies to Alien, that applies to nearly everything. of the dangling question, that space where your imagination can go play is usually best left like that. I mean, I know kind of when I look back over Alien talk over the years, I know kind of more recent history, it's always aliens on Earth, aliens on Earth, aliens on Earth is the big thing. But I remember kind of right in the early days is kind of, you know, after the first film, there's a lot of talk of kind of, we want to see its home world. Where did this creature come from? And that's a very tantalizing question, which I'm tempted to, I'd like to see an answer to, but we sort of have had taste of that in Dark Horse Comics, and it's kind of, I don't actually want to know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think, you know, potentially, I mean, if I was doing it, I'd be getting all of Geiger's books, looking through them and imagining kind of a completely alienized world full of not just xenomorphs, but all these other weird things he did, these biomechanical things. And, you know, they fit into some kind of alien culture or ecology there. But again, once you start, you can't over-explain it. It'd have to be a voyage to an alien world and just leave us with more questions. But the way things are going now in movies, we live in a culture where kind of film criticism has been praised by nitpicking, and as soon as any film comes out, someone does 10 things wrong with this, and everyone wants everything spelled out a lot more, and to play that fan wank card is kind of, well, we're not going to get that. And so, you know, I'll probably keep paying attention despite my reservations, you know what I mean, just to see what's happening. But in a way, I just like someone to go, what worked in Alien? Let's do an entirely different new story inspired by that, but not linked to it. Let's take, you know, the values and talents and ideas and concepts that made Alien work and try and do something along those lines with an entirely new monster and give us, I mean, the strength of Alien as of the first movie was it gave us a space monster that was truly alien. And that's what we need. I think the problem with the Alien franchise is no matter who you get in, at the end of the day, it's still, you'll never have that shock of the new again.
I agree. I don't think anything you're going to get is going to be worthwhile. I don't know. It's, people say, what do you want to see? I mean, I don't want to see any of it. I genuinely don't. I don't think there's anything, I don't think this franchise can go anywhere. I don't think they can do anything more with it.
Well, would you like them not to have an alien queen? Let's say in Alien 5. I'm not bothered about Covenant. I'll watch it, but I'm really not that bothered because it's a prequel to all the films that we love anyway. I would rather see them try and move away from the queen aspect. I want to see more egg morphing. I don't want to see dog legs. I want to see hibernation and a real bizarreness about the alien. I want that to be brought back into that creature. I don't want questions answered. I want questions posed. I want to be posing my own questions towards the end of that movie. I want it to be bizarre and a very strange movie.
I think if you're talking sort of without any answers, I'd say, you know, without any way of being specific, I'd say bring the fear back, make it a horror film, but make it a horror film. Don't just do this half-assed, it's a monster, it's running around, it's going to get you. I'd like, you know, if you're going to do anything with it, you know, show that actually that, you know, the alien finishes the job. You follow it round, it finishes the job, it gets rid of everyone, turns them all into eggs. Then what happens next? What would it do next? Where would it go next? Or will it die? You know, but, you know, like Jim said, the more you explain, the less it becomes scary. If it's just a bug, then, you know, that can be shot, then what's the fear? Yeah, if, it's the same as like, demons in your child. Right, fine. Well, I'll get an exorcist. Right, fine. Let's just wait it out. It's going to get a bit strange, but it'll be gone pretty soon. And I just, on one hand, it's, don't stick it on Earth. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a retread of Alien. What I do want is I do want to feel like this creature's formidable. I don't want Marines. That's the one thing I will say that Alien 3 did really rather, did as a sort of concept, which is you've got no weapons. You've got no way of fighting this thing. Okay, there's 20 of you, but, you're stuffed. And, but, from Michael Myers to bloody Jason Voorhees to Freddy Krueger, the more you see of something, the less scary it becomes. And I honestly, while I'm obviously going to see these films when they come out, because curiosity will get the better of me, I really don't want to see any more.
Yeah.
I just don't. Unless you're going to do something absolutely batshit crazy with the creature and do something stunningly new, and in which case it's not an Alien movie anymore. Just make it something else. Call it Umbongo the movie or something. I don't know. Just leave Alien alone. It's done. It's played out. And the worst bit is the more you heap on it, the worse it gets. Because you end up with things like the Deacon from bloody Prometheus, with its sharp, pointy head and distended little goblin shark mouth thing,
which was weird.
Which was bollocks.
It was oversized to come out that body anyway.
Yeah. But again, that's that. You can see what they're doing. They're trying to do the weirdness. This doesn't make sense. What's going on here? Oh, she's taking out a small tentacle beast out of her belly. Why? Because black goo was in a drink. Why? Because a man did the thing. Okay. And now what? Now we got a 60-foot high trilobite, right? And it's got 18 vaginas that it stuck 27 penises down the mouth of a man in a roided out man in a skeleton suit. Okay. And now what? Now we've got an alien. Oh, that's nice. Still looks like shit though. You know what I mean? It's just like they've added the weird in and they've explained a load of shit and added new weird in. And what's it brought to the table? Fuck all.
Well, there was no finesse to that though, was there?
No.
It looked good, but you need something magical to really capture you into it. And the story wasn't there. It really didn't make any sense. Nobody liked it.
Well, the thing is, it's too humanocentric.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You really, if you look at Geiger's artwork, you can imagine a world that's been overrun by aliens.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It is full of weird skeletal structures and weird altars and things that we're mad angles, things that don't work right, strange necropolis planets.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's so much you could do, but at the end of the day, I think what all the alien films flounder with is, at the end of the day, they know kind of what will go down best if they just did Vietnam with aliens in a big film.
Mm. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Just hundreds of space marines, massive battles against hordes of xenomorphs. That would clean up and people would probably like it.
Yeah.
They probably, once you start adding bits to mythology, you instant people, for anyone like it, 10 will hate it.
Yep.
You know.
So are we saying steer clear and don't make any more alien movies then?
Well, I think kind of there is always a thing with film franchises that the more films you add to them, the more you sort of diminish the original's legacy.
Mm.
And I think it comes a point where you have to say it's kind of, how many times can you go around this ride? It doesn't work. And it is a law of diminishing returns. And, I think if you look in the history of cinema, the kind of when things do work is when you, say, get a director like Ridley Scott, who clearly enjoyed 50 science fiction movies.
Yep.
And then he made Alien. And you need a young director who said, I really liked Alien and want to make something in that spirit. I mean, that works. I mean, that's what Spielberg did. That's what Lucas did. That's what Zemeckis did. That's what Joe Dante did. This is what the makers of Stranger Things are doing now. They're, you know what I mean? They're making something that's and something new, but, you can trace a line of descent of where, people were fans of this, and fans of that. You know what I mean? They make something like it when they can.
Yeah.
But you don't get that in sequelization.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many films have you liked, like a scary thing? So, I mean, like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th?
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, in every case, the first one's the good one.
Exactly, but that's what I was going to say. It's just like with the one or two rare occasions where you get something like Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors, which is arguably the most entertaining sequel out of all of them. Even if it's not perfect, you sit there and you go, okay, that's because you did something different, but effectively you've stuck the monster to, its original rules. And you just played with the limitations of the monster in a playground, which is where the story comes from. Whereas in Alien, what they do is they go, oh, and today it can spit acid, and tomorrow it can walk on the ceiling, and the day after it can see through walls or something.
Well, the thing is, if you look at the sort of the 80s horror franchises, the best sequels are the ones they intended to be the closing chapters.
Yeah.
Dream Warriors was supposed to be Wrap Up Freddy.
Yeah.
So one of the best Friday the 13th is Part 4, the final chapter. That was meant to
wrap it all
to
up.
be it. Arguably, you can say the same for Halloween H2O. That's probably the next best sequel. That was meant to wrap it up. Slightly dodgy ground, that one, but you know what I mean. But Halloween 2 is probably the next best sequel after the first one. But that again, that was closing off that storyline. The problem with Aliens is they're always thinking, we can do another one of these, and another one of these, and another one of these. And wrapping up Ripley's story twice doesn't work.
Oh,
because
Jesus.
we don't care about fucking Ripley. I know Sigourney Weaver does, but
No, I don't know. Just a little point. We are around about 30 seconds from running out of our time on Mixler. So what we'll do, we'll go off air from the chat room. So thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat room, and we'll wrap it up ourselves and plug the shit out of all our stuff off air. So thank you to everyone who's joined us there. You really have made it. There's loads and loads of chat in that chat room, so it's been excellent. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks guys. This off to the podcast extras now.
Oh yeah, this is behind the scenes after dark.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Bye. Oh, it hasn't gone off. There it is. There it is.
Right.
Yes.
Shall we wrap this up at some point, or do you want to say anything more?
One last thing. It's just a little. This is just a little bugbear of mine, being the complete and utter tool that I am. That the alien. What is it actually called?
What species?
Well, actually, what is it called? Because people always call it one thing, and it ain't that. It's not Xenomorph.
Right, okay.
The reason that Xenomorph basically means alien creature, strange other. Yeah?
Yep.
That's Latin for strange other, alien form, which basically means unknown, right? And Gorman uses it in Aliens.
Yep.
And it's kind of stuck as that's the name of the creature, but it has no name. And believe it or not, the Latin has been derived from it, and they have actually worked out the name in Latin. Would you like to know what it's actually called? Well, it has two different Latin names.
Go on.
Binominal names. Right, the first one is Intercinivus raptus, which means murderous thief. And then the other one, which is a bit more on the nose, is Linguafoda archinonis, which means foul tongue from Archeron, which is the name of LV-426.
Okay.
So there you go.
So I like those. I mean, I know what the Xenomorph thing, took off. It was because it was a way of differentiating Alien from every other movie Alien.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it, I'm not saying people shouldn't say Xenomorph, if they want to, that's fine. But I'm just saying that, people with actual, biochemistry and all this kind of thing and biological sort of doctorates and everything have turned around and worked this out, and it's Intercinivus raptus or Linguafoda archinonis.
I prefer the second one.
Linguafoda archinonis, sorry.
As soon as you put raptor in something, it just gives you other visions of other films and stuff.
Yeah, it's not raptor, it's raptus.
Or raptors. But it's there.
It's there. Yeah, but Linguafoda archinonis. Foul tongue.
No, I like the second one. That feels more biologically
foul
fitting.
Foul tongue from Archeron. Yeah, Linguafoda archinonis. There you go. So anyone, that's a good pub quiz one. That is. What is the creature from Alien called? Oh, Xenomorph. No, Linguafoda archeronis.
Isn't it Keith?
Yeah. In case you're interested, seeing as we're not on the chat anymore, I'm going to drop it into the Skype. There you go, so you can actually see how it's spelt.
Nice.
I'm glad you were saying that, not me.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just one of those things. I know I'm not the best with names like that, but I thought I'd give it a spin.
Yeah, I prefer that name, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the Xenomorph name for it though, but I didn't realize the meaning behind it. I just thought it was the alien creature, and that was the name that they gave it.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, if a Martian came down tomorrow, that'd be a Xenomorph as well.
Yeah.
Or if you look at a creature on the bottom of the ocean that looks like it has 12 legs and 5 eyes, that's a Xenomorph. It's a unknown alien form. So there you go.
Cool.
Oh, and also just to back up the design thing on the original Alien, yeah, the ribs that go down the side of its head.
Yes.
Yeah, they are actually tubes which lead into the radiator of an old Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost.
That's so cool.
Ah, nice.
So there you go. So yeah, so if you go to an old 1970s Rolls-Royce, pull the radiator out and get the two water hoses, that's essentially those big, very prominent ridges that run down the side of its head. But there you go.
Cool.
I'm going to leave it there.
I'm just going to say one other little thing about this Alien 5 malarkey.
Oh, yeah.
These films seem to have hit a routine now where you have, I hate saying it, but you have the female lead, and it's just an obvious female lead that will make it to the end, and there's no peril with that female lead anymore. And I don't want to see that. I'm quite happy seeing female leads. I've got no problems in that, but they have to be vulnerable, and just as vulnerable as the men as well. Everyone is on the table to be killed or disposed of at a certain time. And I feel they've just cookie-cutted the films from now on. I just don't like it about it now.
Well, I tell you what, going on from that, I'd quite like to see an alien film where they all peg it.
And then we see the alien sit down, not in its alien way, and then it's completed its job. It's completed its task, and it's ready for the next phase.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, go the whole hog. Actually have it wipe everyone out, have it settle down and start to change, and that's where you end the film. What's it changing into? We don't know. Ta-da! You know, do something with it. Make something interesting with it. Just don't remake Aliens again.
Or any of them.
Well, yeah, just any of them.
Any of them. Right, I think we have pitted out towards the very end now. I think we've spoken as much as we can about this Linga Fodus Archimedes, whatever it is.
Linga Foda Archunis.
That's it. Should we plug our wares? Jim, would you like to go first and plug everything that you can?
Right, yeah, you can hear me every week on my own podcast, Hypnogoria, where I discuss all manner of weird and wonderful things, and you can find that on iTunes, Stitcher, and at Geek Planet Online.
Excellent. And Lee, would you like to plug anything that you do? I don't know if you do anything. Do you do anything else?
I don't know anymore. Yeah, you can find me. You can find me with yourself and Jim over there and Darren doing the Black Dog podcast, which is blackdog@geekplanetonline.com, which is my email address. I don't know why I'm telling you that. blackdog.geekplanetonline.com, and you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and everywhere else. And you can also find me and Andy Palastides and Peter Organ doing Space Doc Jury, which is spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com and on iTunes, and that's about the size of it. And that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. Cool. Well, hopefully next week out, I might be joined by a Mr. Darren Barnard so we can shake our fists at clouds and be angry.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it might be in a couple of weeks' time though. I have got a holiday coming up, so it might be this start of August, or it might be the end of August. But them's the breaks, I'm afraid. So that'll be the next episode anyway. And still in the future, I will be reviewing Pumping Iron.
Why?
I don't know. I might have to back out of that one. Oh, it's cringy though. It really is. But you know, we'll see what happens anyway. Anyway, you can catch me on Black Dog Podcast as per normal, and Grand Prix podcast, which I do with Andy Plastides. We will be doing the German Grand Prix this weekend, and that'll be out on the Sunday/Monday. And I think that's about it. So thank you very much, Jim.
My pleasure.
And thank you, Lee.
No problems.
Thank you for joining me to talk about this. I've been wanting to do this for a long, long time. This is possibly the longest episode on Shonky Lab history now. So that's something to be proud of.
Oh, well, there you go. That's something definitely to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it leaves me just to say, please leave quietly, just in case they can hear you scream.